Welcome to the show, everybody. This is LTMB Live. Let the madness begin. I am Will Gaillard.
I'm Mike White.
What's going on? This is Thursday, our last show of the week. This is March 14th, midway point of March now. Broadcasting on YouTube, broadcasting on Twitch, and broadcasting on Periscope Live. So everybody that's joining us for this broadcast, we thank you. I think we have a good show for you. Some laughs, some, some serious information, some police brutality, some political news. We do have a dummy of the day. Definitely have a dummy of the day that we're going to get to. Not who it could be every day. Not who it could be every day. Linked to that certain
I was about
somebody,
to say, yeah.
But,
Doesn't, yeah.
Yeah. A lesser, whatever. I'm not even gonna. Lots going on today.
Got an endorsement?
Yeah.
Got an endorsement. We're going to endorse somebody tonight. Right? That's what we're going to endorse them, right? I mean, it's big news, man.
He's breaking news to me. You're breaking news right here on the show because I don't know what you're talking about.
See, he's trying to play dumb.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to play dumb. He knows what's up. Beto. He's like, no.
A lot of hate there.
Oh,
man.
man. A lot of hate. I love it, though, man. It's funny. It's funny, man, because, like, the internet don't fail, man. The internet does not fail, man.
Yeah, you right. Hold on, what's this? All right. I don't think that has anything. Okay, hopefully we are coming through loud and clear. The video quality is fine and everything. Nothing is coming up, errors on our part. So we will begin. The first veto of President Trump's tenure is likely to occur very soon. On Thursday, the Senate passed a resolution of disapproval of President Trump's his declaration of a national emergency to gain access to funds to construct a southern border wall. 12 Republican senators joined all Democratic senators to approve of this resolution with a vote of 59 to 41. So the 12 Republican senators, the list of them are Senators Lamar Alexander from Tennessee, Roy Blunt, Missouri, Susan Collins, Maine, Mike Lee, Utah, Jerry Moran, Kansas, Lisa Murkowski, Alaska, Rand Paul, Kentucky, Rob Portman, Ohio, Mitt Romney, Utah, Marco Rubio, Florida, Pat Toomey, Pennsylvania, and Roger Wicker, who is representing Mississippi. Some of these individuals we knew were going to vote for this resolution because they had already stated their intention to. And I believe those were four of them we knew. And that would be Susan Collins, Rand Paul, also Mike Lee, and Lisa Murkowski. Yeah, I think those four. Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, yeah. Now, there was a fifth one that we were expecting to join with this bunch. It would have made it 13. And that would have been Senator Thom Tillis from North Carolina. But at the last minute, he decided to oppose of this resolution. Now, Thom Tillis is the same senator, Republican senator, who wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post and explained why the Trump declaration of a national emergency was bad. And what he explained was that it didn't jive with the separation of powers. He also looked toward the future. And this wasn't something where he disagreed with the agenda of President Trump. But in looking towards the future, he was thinking that if this was to go through, then a president that is a Democrat could possibly declare a national emergency and implement a single payer, maybe a Green New Deal. So again, this wasn't about ideology. This was solely about what should be done.
So even though he kind of agreed with Trump's agenda, he saw the bigger picture?
Yes. But at the last minute...
So somebody talked to him?
Oh, I think multiple people talked to him.
Somebody talked to him.
Because Thom Tillis, again, representing North Carolina, he's up for re-election in 2020. And that seat is, I don't know, the prospects of him actually being re-elected is somewhat tenuous right now. It's in question.
And if it's North Carolina, aren't they still in the process of kind of reconfiguring the districts?
That's true. I mean, it wouldn't affect him. He's a senator.
Oh, yeah.
It wouldn't affect him.
Oh.
But in North Carolina, it could go either way. It could go Democratic. It could go Republican. And he did not want to possibly, rankle any feathers.
I don't. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I don't like the agenda, but like, I wish more Democrats would do that. You know what I'm saying? Kind of strong arm their own people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Into voting a certain way, but they're so weak they don't do that. Republicans do it for the most, despicable reasons.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. We have seen an effort in the House because there have been 2 votes in the House just recently, just in this 116th Congress, where the Democrats have pushed forward something. They voted for something, but then something that the Republicans implemented into the legislation was successful because Democrats voted for it. So that perturbed a lot of Democrats like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and even Nancy Pelosi. They would have meetings saying that, look, we got to get on board here. We're not going to continuously vote with these Republicans. So we haven't seen that so much before, but maybe they're gaining some backbones. We'll see. So Trump, in response to this news, had one word on Twitter, and that one word was veto. So he intends to veto this resolution, and that's no surprise. There was some conversation with the Republicans in the Senate and Donald Trump about an agreement so that that the Republicans would not vote for this resolution, but that fell through. And the conversation was about the National Emergencies Act, and the negotiating was about limiting the executive powers on declaring a national emergency. But Trump did not seem too warm to the idea of limiting his own powers.
I don't understand why Trump even needs to declare a national emergency. We just talked on the last show about what was included in his budget proposal, which was funds for a wall.
Yeah.
So is he trying to get money for his wall through a budget proposal and then get, I guess, some additional funds after declaring a state of emergency from various departments, specifically the military? I have an idea that that's why he's cutting funding for the EPA. Was it Department of the Interior? And there was another one, Department of Energy. There's some other places he's making cuts.
I believe the National Science.
National Science.
The foundation, I believe.
I think that's where he's trying to kind of scrape together more money for his wall. But yeah, to me, it's just weird. If you're going to declare a national emergency to build the wall and to kind of divert funds, why does it need to be in your budget proposal?
Well, you got to have a multiple-pronged approach here because two of these may fail. So you got to have a backup option. That's what I'm taking from it. That's what I'm inferring. So, President Trump may be using his veto power not just in this situation, but in another situation that's likely to occur soon as well. And that's, on Wednesday, the Senate voted 54-46 to end the U.S. involvement in the Saudi Arabia-led Yemen war. Now, this has been done before, but it was with the last Congress, with the 115th Congress. So the Senate has already approved of this in December, and now they approved of it again on Wednesday. Now it has to go back to the House, which of course is expected to pass. And then this is going to set up another situation where President Trump is going to have to veto it, and he likely will because he is supportive of Saudi Arabia.
But he's anti-interventionist and anti-war, right? Right?
In rhetoric, yeah. In action, no. Not at all. All right. To the big giant story. To the big one. You ready?
Wait a second. You
ready?
That kind of brought me back to Blossom.
Oh, Joey?
Yeah, the way you said that. Joey. Whoa.
Oh boy. This is a big one here. This is something that people have been waiting on right here, man.
Oh yeah, man! I've been on the edge of my seat waiting for him to announce. You know what I'm saying? So I could.
Bart Scott, man, you need to put up the Bart Scott from the Jets dope little video. Can't wait.
Dope. donate to his campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Throw his hat on.
No doubt, man.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, so let's get to it. Former Democratic Representative Beto O'Rourke has ended the mystery. He has announced his candidacy for president in 2020. Let's go, Beto. Let's go, Beto. So this was an expected decision, as most people had assumed that he was going to enter this field of Democratic candidates, and most polling data has included him as a candidate. So O'Rourke posted a video on social media announcing his decision and detailing his vision.
Amy and I are happy to share with you that I'm running to serve you as the next president of the United States of America. This is a defining moment of truth for this country and for every single one of us. The challenges that we face right now, the interconnected crises in our economy, our democracy, and our climate have never been greater, and they will either consume us or they will afford us the greatest opportunity to unleash the genius of the United States of America. In other words, this moment of peril produces perhaps the greatest moment of promise for this country and for everyone inside of it. We can begin by fixing our democracy and ensuring that our government works for everyone and not just for corporations. We can invest in the dignity of those who work and those who seek to work. We can ensure that every single American can see a doctor and be well enough to live to their full potential. And all of us, wherever you live, can acknowledge that if immigration is a problem, it's the best possible problem for this country to have, and we should ensure that there are lawful paths to work, to be with family, and to flee persecution. We can listen to and lift up rural America. We can work on real justice reform and confront the hard truths of slavery and segregation and suppression in these United States of America. We can reassert our global leadership and end these decades-long wars and be there for every woman and man who has served in them. And perhaps most importantly of all, because our very existence depends on it, we can unleash the ingenuity and creativity of millions of Americans who want to ensure that we squarely confront the challenge of climate change before it's too late. This is going to be a positive campaign that seeks to bring out the very best from every single one of us, that seeks to unite a very divided country. We saw the power of this in Texas, where people allowed no difference, however great or however small, to stand between them and divide us, whether it was religion or gender or income or geography. We put our labels and our differences aside to come together for the only thing that matters: the future of this country and the generations that will follow us.
Beto hit some good talking points.
Literally. He was literally
he was hitting them with his hands. Yeah. He was into what he was talking about. But of course, he hit some good points there. I mean, he addressed climate change. He went to his talk about anti-interventionism, healthcare.
Well, he just kind of said everybody deserves it in some way.
Yeah. He talked about criminal justice reform. He talked about dealing with the effects of slavery. Hey, he hit. You can't. He hit him. He hit him.
I take back what I said before.
What about?
You remember how I described him? I described Beto O'Rourke as a swaggerless Obama.
Okay. All right.
I wasn't getting that there.
Right.
Now I'm kind of like trying to redefine him and his demeanor and what he gives off. And it seems to be more like Bookerish. White Booker. He's a white Booker. Did you see the passion?
See, I wouldn't even put that on him. See, Booker, Booker always looks very phony to me. That didn't look that phony to me.
How you?
That didn't look phony.
You said no. You said it didn't look that phony. So see you. So
it didn't look that phony.
So you saying there's like a smidgen?
There's
a smidgen of phoniness.
I definitely put him above Booker. I definitely put him above
I feel
Booker.
you.
Yeah.
I feel you. But see, we have a past. We have a longer track record with Booker.
Right.
See, if we see more of that from him, he gonna be in the same category.
It's possible. He is a good orator. I will say he's a good orator.
Yes.
He knows how to articulate his positions. He knows how to hit them. He doesn't stumble.
Yeah, like the speech he gave on Black Lives Matter.
Right.
I mean, I took that with a grain of salt. I think we both took that with a grain of salt.
Right.
Seeing as he voted for the
Blue
Lives Matter bill.
Right.
So, yeah. Did you see how his wife was just
looking at him
smitten?
intently.
Oh, that's my man.
I'm proud of this dude.
I'm proud of my man.
Yes,
I'm like, okay, whatever.
Hey, man, that's love. That's love and belief. That's love and belief. She believes in her man. Can't fault her for that. Can't fault her for that, man. So look, Beto is he's a very big name to enter this season, this election season. He's a very big name. A lot of people have been waiting on him to make this announcement. Many people knew it was due to come.
I know. I got my copy of Vanity Fair. You got yours, right? I got my copy of Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
I just grabbed it off the shelf, man.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that.
But see, I didn't get it for Beto. I like dogs. And his dog was on the cover, so
Okay.
I got it for the dog.
Yeah, you didn't see the black
little
one?
black dog.
Yeah,
So I cut Beto out.
You cut that out.
Cut Beto out. So because I like the dog. But if you look at the dog's eyes, the way the dog looks, if you go look at the cover, look at the dog. The dog is looking like, what's going on here? This dude is whack. It just looks weird. You know how dogs don't lie. Dogs are honest, man. But go ahead, though.
Harsh, man. Real harsh.
This is all dog.
But look,
It was a black dog, too, so maybe I'm...
the positives about Beto O'Rourke, okay? You could say that he's a progressive. He does have very progressive positions. There are some people that will say that no, he's not a progressive. He maybe doesn't have a progressive track record. Outside of that vote that he casted about the Blue Lives Matter bill, his record is pretty progressive. Again, the talking points that you observed in that opening video, his introductory video, you saw, he has a very progressive way of looking at things. He does not accept corporate PAC money, and he didn't accept corporate PAC money when he ran for Senate against Ted Cruz just a few months ago in the midterms. With that being said, he still was able to amass about $80 million worth of campaign donations, I believe.
Maybe because he broke his pledge to not accept fossil fuel money.
Yeah, well, not in the form of PACs,
Not in the form of PACs,
yes, he did. But he does support legalization of cannabis, single payer. He is looked at as somebody that has charisma. He curses in public, which a lot of people don't do, especially if you're an elected official, somebody that is looked at as a leader, but he does let it fly from time to time. That's something that Ted Cruz criticized multiple occasions. He's been in a band. That's got to bring some appeal.
And doesn't he like skateboard too or something?
Does he skateboard?
I don't know.
I'm not sure about that. I haven't seen that. But the negatives, one, we talked about that vote for the Blue Lives Matter bill.
Oh, you forgot. He gives us a kind of a bird's eye view of his dental procedures.
Is that a positive or negative?
Hey man, I'm just putting it out there.
I count that as a negative, so I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place. I'm in the negatives right now. So his debate skills are a little questionable. It didn't seem like he knew how to respond appropriately when he was being attacked, and that was by Senator Ted Cruz. So when he is giving a speech, it does look pretty comfortable for him. He doesn't make any stumbles. But when he's on that debate stage, it kind of looks like that a little bit. And we've heard that from just people that watched him. I watched, I think it was the last debate that he had with Senator Ted Cruz. And it wasn't a bad performance, but I did see a little bit of what people were talking about.
And kind of a lot of people bring that race up as a kind of to illustrate why Beto O'Rourke is not a good wouldn't be a good presidential candidate. They always think that, what do they say? They say, well, he couldn't beat Ted Cruz in Texas.
Yeah.
So
Which,
how can he?
Look,
It's Texas. It's Texas.
It's Texas.
So you can't really extrapolate the results of that election onto the entire country.
Right.
So
I will say that it's interesting that now he was a three-time he served 3 terms in the United States House of Representatives. And then he made the move to try to run for senator. He lost. I will say it's interesting that coming off of that loss, just a few months from that he decides to run for president. It's a big field. It's a very wide open field. But if you don't even get to the top of that field, it's like, wow, you are really failing here.
Yeah, I think because Texas is a big state and he lost by such a slim margin. I mean, it's like over 8 million people voted in that election.
Right.
I think that's another reason too. They're probably calculating that more people will vote in a presidential election. I think 8 million more people, or maybe 9 million more people voted in 2016, as far as from that state, 2016 presidential election. So maybe they think if more people vote, he can make up that ground in Texas. And since Texas is a big state, that will give him a lot of gas if he can win Texas. That's a lot of gas.
It is. It's not California.
True.
It is a big state, though. There are a lot of delegates there. It's a point that you have to bring up. Now,
I'm not sure if it matters though, because Trump beat Hillary by a lot. But see, that's Hillary though. See, that's different. You know what I'm saying? It's
still Texas.
It's Cruella de Clinton.
But it's still Texas.
I think that there's a lot of factors involved here.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's possible that he beats Trump. I think it's possible. It's at least possible that he could.
Right.
But I don't know if it's likely. But anyway, so his time in Congress, it is interesting to point out that he never joined the Congressional Progressive Caucus. He never joined it, but he did join the New Democrat Coalition. So the New Democrat Coalition is a very centrist coalition, very moderate. I think they describe themselves as center-left. I wouldn't go as far as saying center-left whatsoever. They have very centrist and conservative views on trade and health care.
That would make sense, seeing as he wanted to fast track the TPP.
That's
so
correct.
that makes sense.
Yeah. They talk about balanced budgets, which is completely BS, because if you're talking about balanced budgets, then that means that you don't want to spend any money on programs that actually benefit people. Look, there's some definite criticisms of him. Even with that, where I put him, because, okay, so with this news now, there are 15 Democratic candidates for president.
Right.
15. Now 16 if Joe Biden does get involved. So out of this whole field, where to put him, like where to rank him, that's interesting. But I might put him.
Do you rank him above Elizabeth Warren?
No.
Okay. So do you rank him above Booker?
Yes.
Okay, I can see that because it's kind of been floated, like recently.
What?
Beto Biden.
Beto Biden.
That's been floating around.
I would completely shut that down.
Hell yeah.
Completely shut that down.
Yeah.
I would actually put him above Kamala Harris too, though.
Why would you do that? Because he kind of gained a little bit of notoriety from that race? The notoriety means absolutely nothing to me. Well, nothing to you.
Yeah, nothing to me. I'm just talking about what I view as a quality candidate. For me though, I'm not talking about chances. In chances, I give Kamala Harris a better chance.
You give Kamala Harris a better chance, not because you like her better, but because you think how people will perceive her.
Right.
Okay, I feel you.
But in terms of a candidate, I would probably rather back Beto than Kamala Harris. Probably. So I would put him near the top, probably in the top, third, top half, maybe something like that.
I'm wondering where, he sees himself. Where does his campaign see him?
I don't know.
I'm wondering that because you would have to kind of galvanize enough people and enough support to overtake your boy.
Yeah, Bernie.
But
he would think that he's going to be able to do that because, again, what he did in Texas, he raised a lot of money. And he does believe that he has a very grassroots approach. In this video, and that was towards the end of it, he stated that this was the greatest grassroots campaign ever. Now, I don't... he was being a little loose with the language.
I think he was being loose with the language because kind of that's what politicians do. They kind of have to overinflate,
right?
Like, I guess, how influential they are.
Right.
Because everything they say is for the future. Everything they say is to pay lip service to maybe some future endeavor. And in his case, is him running for president. So there's some people, or maybe a few people in the chat that maybe don't watch our show and don't recognize sarcasm. You know, somebody in the chat starts with an E. I can't pronounce it. They don't recognize that we're being sarcastic. We're being sarcastic about Beto, and think that we support Beto. Maybe you don't watch the show enough, but it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Look, we supported Beto in his run against Ted Cruz because it was Ted Cruz. If Beto is the nominee for president from the Democratic Party, I'm definitely going to support Beto. I don't make any bones about it. I wouldn't apologize for it whatsoever. Against Trump, yeah, I have no apologies of that whatsoever. But right now, we're talking about the Democratic field. We're talking about primary season. We're talking about who's going to become the nominee from the Democratic Party. And no, I'm not throwing my support behind Beto. Again, I think there are several other candidates that are far better than Beto O'Rourke. So we'll see how he does. I really don't know how his candidate. And I've seen the early polling at the beginning. Well, not the beginning, but maybe last month and even the month before that in January, he was polling pretty high. Actually, he was like in the top 3 in a lot of polls with Bernie Sanders and Biden. But now he's kind of fallen off from that, and it might be because he hadn't announced yet. So people are kind of writing him off. So maybe it's going to be interesting to see polls going forward now that he's in, how he is looking.
I think a lot of it, him waiting probably had to do with, Bernie.
Maybe so.
Probably waiting for like the Bernie fervor to die down a little bit.
It could be. But anyway, so we're going to leave that there. But he's in, and I have no doubt that he's going to attract enough support to reach that $65,000 individual donor mark so that he is on the stage when the first debate comes around in June. So, Beto 2020. Beto 2020.
It's going to be interesting to see like what actual proposals he supports, progressive proposals, because he, as far as I know, wasn't in support of Medicare for all. So my thing is, if he doesn't support that going forward, what are his chances?
Yeah,
that's kind of like the I would call it the intra-party wedge issue right now. But
it's a wide field, man. It's a wide field, and this is not a state race in Texas. I think it probably would have been. It might have been a better decision for him to challenge John Cornyn in 2020 because he's up for election. The other senator from Texas, he's up for re-election. So just thinking about the support that he gained last year, maybe that will carry over and he could actually.
You think that would have been a better step?
I think it would have been. Yeah, I think so.
Then he would have been seen as somebody with like some more experience,
something. And because look, again, he failed in 2018 against. It was a close race between him and Ted Cruz. I think it was 51 to 48. So it was a close race.
Yeah, it was like 50.9, 50.8. Yeah.
So it was a close race. But if he again, he just lost in November. And if he really doesn't make any real moves here, if he isn't one of the top candidates for president, that's just going to be a bad look. I don't want to be too, hyperbolic and say career over, but I'm just saying it's not going to be a good look. So.
But he's still young.
He's still young. I think he's 45, 3, something like that. He's in his mid-40s, so he's still young. Whatever. I'm not supporting him. But anyway, so let's move on. Let's go to the government spending. Yeah. All right. So whenever someone, usually a political candidate or an elected representative, whenever they propose a policy advocating for people seeking to improve outcomes for the majority of us, there's always a familiar question that's asked of them. And I know you've heard this before. That familiar question is, how are you going to pay for it? Where's the money going to come from? We have $22 trillion in debt. So
we have a budget to adhere to.
We have a budget. We don't have the money, right? So look, we know that when it comes to cutting taxes for the wealthiest among us, that question never comes up. When it comes to when it comes to corporate subsidies, billions of dollars in corporate subsidies, that question never comes up. It's only about actually doing what's best for people. And the truth be told, a lot of these policies that, we advocate for that would be in the best interest of people would actually grow the economy. But again, the question is always, how are you going to pay for it? We don't have the money. We don't have the money. So one place to look at here that maybe we could possibly look for that money, or maybe possibly get some money, is from government spending, or really specifically wasteful government spending, like government abuse of their spending, right? So in the last fiscal month of 2018, which is September, the federal government, all in 1 month, spent $97 billion. $97 billion in 1 month. Now, most of that spending was done by one particular governmental agency, and that was the Department of Defense. The Pentagon spent $61 billion all in 1 month.
Wasn't there a report that came out showing how the Pentagon lost over $21 trillion over the course of like 6 years or something like that?
I remember that report, yeah.
It was, they traced it through like the midway point of the Obama administration and the first year of the Trump administration.
Right.
And it totaled like $22 trillion that they lost. Honestly, I don't believe they lost it. I think that it goes to other things that they don't want us to know about, but that's another story.
Right. So we're not going to get into all of the spending because we'd be here all night to talk about everything that they spent $61 billion on. But here's a few of the highlighted items that that we wanted to focus on. So they spent $9,341 on a Wexford leather club chair. That's got to be pretty important to spend that much money on a chair for the Pentagon. It's got to be pretty important.
Look, man, they have to constantly come up with an agenda and strategies to kind of iron out our foreign policy, and they have to be comfortable while they're doing it.
Oh, I get it. So they got to have the best of the best.
You got to have the best of the best.
Of the best.
You see what I'm saying?
I get it.
I know it doesn't really...
doesn't make sense to us.
It doesn't amount to anything at the end of the day because we don't really agree with the foreign policy that the United States sets. But in theory, if they have nicer furniture, it would make it much easier for them and make their jobs much easier.
I got you.
Because they're working for us. So anybody who's working for me, I want them to be comfortable. So they should have a leather couch if they want to, a recliner, anything like that.
Okay.
A hammock, I don't care.
All right, so let's keep going. All right, so they also spent $32 million worth of batteries. They spent $4.3 million on books and pamphlets, $221 million in furniture, $7.6 million worth of workout equipment, $2.3 million on crab. This includes snow crab, king crab, Alaskan king crab, and crab legs and claws. They also spent another $2.3 million on lobster tail, $293,245 on steak.
You keep up. You go ahead, finish.
Yeah. So
go ahead, finish.
Now, this portion of the spending was the portion where they spent the absolute most. So they spent this money on military contractors. So $8.3 billion to Lockheed Martin, $5.3 billion to Boeing, and $3.4 billion to Raytheon. Now, this is all, and look, we don't want to just, well, we are focusing on primarily on the Pentagon, but this is about all government spending. It's very customary practice for government agencies to spend money, anything in excess of what they actually need, at the very end. They will spend every single drop that is allocated to them so that they don't make a case that they can operate with less money, so that they don't give Congress the motivation to limit the funds that are allocated to them in the next budget. Now, again, you maybe you are thinking, or maybe some people might be thinking, hey, at the end of the fiscal year, maybe that's when all the bills come due. You know, maybe they just like keep pushing it off to the last month, and then when that last month hits in September, we got to finally take care of all this. You know, we've been meaning to take care of it. You know, we've been.
And then what comes is that we vote to raise the debt limit.
Yeah.
To cover that overage.
Yeah.
The overage that we spent. But you know what's interesting about those items that you mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
The steak.
The steak?
The steak. The lobster.
Oh, yeah.
The crab.
The crab.
All those goodies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we're talking about people living above their means, or when we're talking about people who use entitlements like welfare, what's the stereotype with that group of people?
That they're lazy.
That they're lazy, and that they don't buy things that are affordable when they get supplemental food assistance from the government. They're out here buying lobster and crabs and steak,
cell phones,
cars. Even though that's statistically is a very small portion. Most people don't do that, and even if they do that, even if they do that, they don't get more money.
No,
it's like you get a certain amount of money per month. You can spend that money on whatever you want. You're not getting any more money.
Right.
So you might be eating a steak, a crab that first week, but you're going to starve for
exactly,
3 weeks.
No doubt.
But anyway, the point is, I do think it's ironic that that stereotype is put out there concerning regular folk or poor people that need government assistance, such as like food stamps, and always pointing to, you know, them buying steak and lobster and all these kind of things to make it look like they're abusing the system, when the people who are actually abusing the system, the people who are actually buying the steak, actually buying the lobster, actually buying the crab, are people in privileged positions, people who work for our government. How much money did you say they spent on lobster?
On lobster alone, $2.3 million.
Is there that?
In 1 month. In 1 month.
Is there even that much lobster available to buy?
Damn, I don't.
Like,
they found it.
They found it. And it's like, so not only are they wasting government money, they're driving up the price of lobster.
Yep.
Because they're doggone like hoarding it all.
Exactly. This is corruption at its finest. This is corruption at its finest. Again, the point that I made just leading off with this story is we're always having to deal with that question: how are you going to pay for this? How are you going to pay for single payer? How are you going to pay for sending every kid to a public college and university tuition free? How are you going to pay for all this stuff? Meanwhile, billions of dollars are being wasted by our federal government. And look, this is something that on a bipartisan basis they've looked into before, but it really hasn't made any headlines whatsoever. This should be front page news. This should be leading off multiple cable news shows, but it isn't. So in 2018, a bipartisan group of senators wrote, quote, according to a recent report, with only limited time left in the current fiscal year, 8 of the top 10 highest spending federal agencies have not used as much as 40% of their budgets. And that was comprised of, I believe, 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. With what? With limited time left, they had not used 40% of their budgets. So again, this is common practice. This means that when it comes down to the end of that fiscal year, they're scrambling like, damn, how do we get rid of this money? We have to get rid of this money because we don't want to get less in the next budget. We have to make the case that we actually need this money. So let's use it. It's corruption. We have people out here dying because they don't have health care coverage. We have people that are in poverty situations. We have people that are homeless, don't even have a roof over their head, and you're spending $2.3 million on crab and $2.3 million on lobster tail. Eating good.
Eating good. It's morally repugnant because these same politicians, like I said before, are always looking down on people, you know what I'm saying, who actually need assistance.
Right. But looking down on them, saying, work harder.
And not just looking down on them, actually, I guess their legislative decisions kind of mirror that attitude by making cuts to things like food stamps, making cuts to HUD, making cuts to the EPA or any other, you know, a department that actually helps people.
Proposing to cut Medicare, Medicaid,
Social Security.
Right.
because
Meanwhile,
we got to keep a tight pocket, man. We got to keep a tight pocket because we run out of money.
so this is all being done again to one, afford these governmental agencies the same amount of money that they're used to, and two, keep up with that same old narrative. How are you gonna pay for it? We ain't got no money. Sorry. All right, let's go to this this new hashtag movement.
Oh, please.
Let's go to this, man.
Oh, please. Y'all gonna love this.
All right. There is a new political movement called Jexodus, which means the Jewish exodus from the Democratic Party. Elizabeth Pipko, who is the national spokesperson for Jexodus, is a model and a former Trump campaign staffer. And she recently appeared on Fox News and stated that the idea originally started under former President Barack Obama, and as the result of many anti-Israel policies under him. She also said that with the recent comments of Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar and the failure of the Democratic Party to specifically condemn Representative Omar, that the anti-Semitism cannot be hidden anymore. The Democratic Party is the party of anti-Semitism. So this is a clip of her appearance on Fox News.
Obviously, it's a play on Exodus, but we left Egypt and now we're leaving the Democratic Party.
Why did you decide to do this and start this movement?
I thought it was time. Obviously, we saw a lot of anti-Israel policies kind of start under the Obama administration, and it got worse and worse, and clearly we've seen it. It's been plastered on our TV screens the last month. There's anti-Semitism in the Democratic Party. They can hide it. They can do whatever they want. They failed to condemn it, and now it's there, so it's time.
Is this for everyone? Do you encourage anyone who is Jewish and has voted Democratic their entire lives, and now you're asking them to join your movement and do what, vote Republican now?
So anyone that's Jewish, but also anyone at all that feels that they've been told not to vote according to their own conscience and beliefs. There have been so many people that told me that they were pressured into voting a different way or not voting at all or made fun of for what they value. So anyone that feels that they haven't gotten to vote according to what they believe in, I think it's time for that person to stand up and do, what needs to be done in 2020.
Think about how disingenuous it is for a conservative to be trying to pull people out of the Democratic Party and funnel them into the Republican Party. Per the Jexodus website, it states, "We're done standing with supposed Jewish leaders and allegedly supportive Democrats who rationalize mainstream and promote our enemies. We'd rather spend 40 years wandering in the desert than belong to a party that welcomes Jew haters." So the Democratic Party welcomes Jew haters, and I guess that means that the Republican Party does not.
First of all, how can someone, I guess, lead a movement or be the spokesperson for a movement for an exit out of the Democratic Party when they were a former Trump campaign staffer / Republican?
I know. She's talking we are going to leave.
So what are you exiting out of? You see what I'm saying?
She's just leading them. She's just leading them.
But
See?
how, leading.
them.
Again, if you're leading, that means you are kind of in that same position. My point is, what is she exiting?
If you're genuine, you would have to be one of them.
You would have to be one of them.
But
So why she's trying to do this? I was one of them, and now I'm not. And the thing about what she said in that clip about if you've ever felt that you've been told not to vote according to your own conscience, if you've ever been picked on, I was like, but that's not specific to a particular group. That could apply to anybody. Not Democrats, not Republicans, not Libertarians, not whatever, the Green Party, whatever. So I don't understand. It just seems like she's stating some sort of generality, first off. And second off, how redundant is the word, the phrase Jexodus in the first place? And she said it herself. It's based on Exodus, which is was the second book of the Torah, which details the Israelites' liberation from Egypt. Right. So the book Exodus is named after them. It's named after their experience. So it's redundant to say Jexodus. It would make more sense to say Exodus 2 or Exodus the sequel or Exodus Redux or just say Jexit. It's redundant. It's like saying I celebrate Josh Hashanah or Jonica. Do you see what I'm saying? It's dumb.
Yeah, it is. It is. But what's interesting, again, this is all, they're making the case that the Democratic Party is anti-Semitic. They won't criticize and condemn certain members of their party that are anti-Semitic, this and that, right? Last time I checked, okay, because again, this is an effort to funnel people into the Republican Party. The alt-right, is the alt-right supportive of the Democratic Party or the Republican Party? I can't remember.
For the most part, Republican Party.
For the most part, the Republican Party, right?
Right.
Now, we saw the alt-right with that rally.
The Unite the Right rally.
Yes, in Charlottesville, right?
David Kessler.
Yes,
David
Kessler.
Duke.
David Duke, of course. And during the marches that they were doing, they were yelling or they were screaming, chanting a certain kind of phrase. Jews will not replace us. This is the same rally where there was a murder. Heather Heyer was murdered by somebody that was linked with these neo-Nazis, these alt-right cats, right? This is the same incident where President Trump said that there were some very fine people on both sides. I didn't hear anything from this particular spokesperson about Trump's awful comments and him saying that there were very fine people that were screaming, Jews will not replace us. So if you're going to, again, if you're going to say that Representative Omar's comments were anti-Semitic, if you personally feel that, fine. To make the case that that's emblematic of the whole Democratic Party is terribly, terribly false. But if you can do that, then you certainly have enough evidence to do that for the Republican Party as well. So this can't really be about that, right? It can't really be about that.
She said it all started with the Obama administration, though, because of his anti-Israel policies. First of all, I think that's a fucking cover. I think that's a cover to kind of like make it seem like it's not some, current agenda.
Right.
That is a current agenda that was kind of just sparked by Omar and kind of using that situation to push this new movement or this new agenda.
Right.
Because she's like in her like 22, 23.
She's in the early 20s.
So it was like Trump is already in his second year. So Obama became president 10 years ago. So this all started when she was 13 or 15.
I guess the anti-Israel policies happened towards the end of his tenure.
Oh, it did? But where was she then?
Guess,
but she said it started with Obama. So she dealt with it and didn't do anything for 8 years?
I don't know.
So now she felt compelled. This is why I think it's just like a coordinated effort like with the Trump administration, because guess who tweeted about her?
That would be President Donald Trump.
So this is definitely some sort of politically coordinated effort but making it look like they're putting her out here to make it look like this is some sort of grassroots thing.
Right. In an interview with SiriusXM's Breitbart News Tonight, Pipko said that the movement is to encourage young Jews to get involved politically for 2020. She also said, and most importantly, creating an environment where young Jews can feel unafraid, stand up for themselves and their beliefs, and feel free to come to their own conclusions about what's going on and decide who they want to vote for and how they want to be involved, and not let the media and the narrative decide that for them. So that suggests that the media has been doing the job for all of these Jews, I guess in the recent past or even going back years and decades, that Jews have been letting the media dictate how they're going to vote, how they're going to feel, how they're going to approach ideas.
Think about how condescending that is. Think about how
They're
condescending
stupid.
that is. Like I
They're
think like
ignorant.
80% of Jews vote Democratic, and for some reason they think that it's like all those people must be brainwashed. There's nothing about us that's preventing Jews from voting for us. What it is they're brainwashed. It's kind of the same thing that conservatives did with the Brexit movement.
No doubt.
It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it just to me it comes off as very condescending. And like I said, it applies to both Jexodus. I have a hard time even saying that. Jexodus and Brexit. I think it's a mistake to critique movements like this from how they present it to us. I think it's like we have to look at it in a way that speaks to their own like self-consciousness and why, I guess, they don't want to come to grips with the fact that these people don't want to have shit to do with us. And instead of like trying to figure out why certain groups don't want to have anything to do with them instead of trying to like center a platform that benefits those people.
Right.
Like they try to guilt them into coming over. You see what I'm saying? So it's like it's kind of very, I don't know. It lacks self-awareness and it's kind of narcissistic.
Jewish people are not a monolith. Black people are not a monolith. Chinese people are not a monolith. These groups of people are not monolith. They're just people. So they can feel and think about issues. It's just based on who they are as a person. It could be based on their upbringing. It could be based on where they live. It could be based on who they are ethnically. It could be based on that, but not just specifically. So it's interesting that if she's trying to, not just her, because she's the spokesperson, but this movement, this Jexodus movement, again, they're trying to funnel people into the Republican Party, people that are in the Democratic Party. So all of these Jewish people, and like you said, for years, decades, Jewish people overwhelmingly have been voting Democratic. So all of these Jewish Democrats that may believe in universal health care, they may believe in tuition-free public colleges and universities. They may believe in the Green New Deal. They may believe in criminal justice reform. They can believe in many different democratic ideals. But because of what Representative Omar said, they have just now learned that they are actually conservative.
They just now learned that. And they should almost like, well, not almost, they should kind of flip parties without that party, particularly Republicans in this case, offering some sort of collateral to the group they're trying to court. That's the thing. What are you offering that group? And that's one of the things I have a problem with. That's the one of the things I have a problem with. If you're going to tell, that's another thing. First, conservatives always talk about how they're against identity politics, but Jexodus and Blexit are movements that do what?
It's all about
they
that.
target a specific group to move in a specific direction.
Right.
So it's very disingenuous. But I think it's just condescending, because all you're saying is like, you don't know why you vote for them. You don't know why you should come to our side. We're not going to offer you anything other than rhetoric and anything other than platitudes. We're just going to point the finger and say how they're bad for you. And they're bad for you. And they're against you. But not actually offer anything like that. Just not offer anything.
Yeah. And in reality, we as Republicans have just as many, or in reality, more hateful people within this party or that support this party. People that have been public. It has been publicized. There are particular feelings about Jewish people.
Yeah, so
but it's just about the Democratic Party solely. Just that one party is the party of anti-Semitism. Again, if you're going to make that case about that party, you would have to make the same case about the other one.
And you would kind of have to prove to that group that you don't have that same kind of hate within your party.
But they can't do that, though.
That's the thing.
They can't do that,
if you're going to make that accusation, okay, great.
Okay, yeah.
You can make that accusation.
Okay.
Even if it sticks and even if it holds, which it doesn't hold, but let's just say it does, just for like a hypothetical argument.
Right.
Like, I don't understand what they're trying to get these people to move to, especially as it pertains to their party.
Right. All right. Let's go to Blackshire. On February 22nd, a 30-year-old black man was shot and killed by a police officer in Little Rock, Arkansas, after the police officer jumped on the man's hood to prevent him from leaving the scene. Officer Charles Starks was responding to a call of a stolen vehicle when he pulled up to the vehicle that Bradley Blackshire was driving. At this point, Blackshire was already parked at the building. So we're going to show video from this incident. It's going to contain, I believe, 3 different angles of what actually happened. So here it is.
Hands. Send me some units. I got them at gunpoint. Roll your window down. Roll the window down.
I am told traffic for Young 61.
All right, get out. Get out. Get out. I'll explain it to you in a second. Get out. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Dude, get out of the car. Get out of the car. He's refusing to get out of the car. Dude, get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car, dude. Search for it. Get out of the car. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. I need you in C18. Don't move. Don't move. Stay where you're at.
Okay.
Stay where you're at.
Hey, can I get out? He's driving. Can I get out?
I need units. I need units.
Hey.
Hush.
Hey, can I jump out?
Get out.
Get out. Get out.
We need people. Come over here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Get on the ground for me.
He has a pistol in here.
Hey, she said he's got a gun. The pastor's telling me he's still got a gun.
He just picked me up.
Okay.
I swear to God.
I'm putting you in cuffs, man, okay?
That's fine.
Stay back. Stay back. Get in the car! Put your hands up!
So this is the last video of this, and you can only see a little bit.
But I think that's a good angle because
Yeah.
it shows where the cop was when the car started moving. He was right on the driver's side door.
Right, he was to the side of it.
Yeah.
So police spokesman Lieutenant Michael Ford said on Friday that Officer Starks has been relieved of duty. He's turned in his gun and his badge. He is not working as a police officer right now. He is still being paid, and this is while the incident is still being investigated. And actually, the investigation has already ended on the police department's end. It is now in the hands of the district attorney, and now they will decide if any criminal charges are appropriate. So disciplinary records also reviewed, they were reviewed by a local paper in Little Rock, and they showed that Starks does have a disciplinary record. He's been reprimanded 10 times since 2015, and that's led to almost a month's worth of suspensions. So, again, Bradley Blackshire, that was the man that was driving. He was pronounced dead at the scene. There is not a ton of information on this story. I believe the last updated story I saw, that was days ago, maybe like 4 or 5 days ago. There's a little bit more information based about like the vehicle he was driving and how it was reported stolen.
Yeah, they don't even know how he came in possession of the vehicle.
Right.
Because I guess they didn't get to asking him.
No, they did not.
But before we get to that, because that's like a weird story.
That is a weird story.
That's a weird story. Something I've actually never heard before.
No.
Like at the time I saw the video, I lacked knowledge of Little Rock's, the Little Rock Police Department's protocol as far as use of force.
Right.
I didn't know anything about like what their particular department, prohibited. But like 2 things jumped out at me. Actually, 3 things jumped out at me on that video. That kind of weird flex he did when he went from the driver's side door, being on the side of the car, to jumping on the hood, and then kind of like shooting directly through the front windshield, like it's a Die Hard movie, like he was Bruce Willis. Then, second thing that jumped out at me was the Super Trooper backup that came and rammed the car.
Yep.
That's something that jumped out at me.
The
too.
passenger side of the car.
And again, and that's something. It was the passenger side, and there was somebody in the car, and they had been following the car for quite some time.
Through what cameras?
Well, yeah, we'll get to that later. But like not knowing whether that passenger was an accomplice or not, not knowing the age of that passenger, that second squad car or SUV rammed the car. That's something that jumped out at me too. I was like, well, like you don't know like the status of that person, whether that person is like a willing accomplice or how old that person is. You're just gonna like ram the car, ram a 2-ton vehicle into the side of that car, possibly injuring that person. Also, the same amount of danger was present when the officer shot in the vehicle, shot at the driver. That could have hit that passenger too.
No doubt.
So again, me not knowing anything about the protocol, that's the stuff that jumped out at me. Well, guess what? I looked up Little Rock's protocol. And they are not allowed to fire at a car, a moving car, unless they're an imminent danger or the driver poses a danger to anyone in that surrounding environment.
That sounds oddly familiar to other police departments that we have seen. Yeah. That you're not supposed to fire into the vehicle.
Into a vehicle.
Yeah.
Only when your life is in danger.
Right.
Also, another, I guess, action or behavior that's prohibited is ramming vehicles. So there were 2 things that happened in that situation that were prohibited according to Little Rock Police Department's own protocol.
Their own guidelines.
Oh, yeah.
This officer, Officer Starks, he fired into the vehicle at least 15 times. And again, he did kill Bradley Blackshire. This was murder. I believe that's clear on the video. This was a case of an officer that believed that he was judge, jury, and executioner. And he put himself in the way of harm, put himself in the path of this vehicle so as to come up with a reason to validate the need to actually fire into this vehicle to stop this criminal. Now, at this point, again, there's limited information about this incident, and there's limited information about Bradley Blackshire too. I don't even know. We don't know if he's a criminal or not. We heard the female that was in the car with him. We heard her say he's got a gun. We don't know if that's true. We don't know if he actually did steal the vehicle. We don't know how he became in possession of the vehicle. We don't really know anything about how this came to be. But what we do know, based on the video that we all saw, is that this police officer chose to get in front of the vehicle. And when you get in front of the vehicle and there's a car coming at you, no matter how slow it is, this officer now believes he has a reason to use deadly force.
Now, it is true, the police department, put out a statement that included information that the car was a stolen vehicle. But interesting enough, wherever you go to read about this story, it doesn't say Blackshire stole the car.
No,
why is that, Will?
Well, the vehicle was not registered in, not registered, but it was not rented in his name.
Right.
So the vehicle was rented at a Hertz location that was in Arkansas. It was rented at a Hertz location in, I believe it was December of last year. Now, it was not rented by Bradley Blackshire. It was rented by this woman named LaToya Reed. So KATV in Little Rock, they reached out to LaToya Reed and they asked her about the vehicle that she rented. She said, nope, I didn't rent this vehicle. I couldn't have rented this vehicle because the last time I rented a vehicle was in June of 2018. And I'm on the do not rent list at that Hertz location.
Yeah, because she has some sort of outstanding balance because her car got vandalized and they wanted her to pay for it.
Yes.
And according to what KATV, they verified that she talked to somebody at customer service at Hertz. And they say, yeah, you haven't rented a car from us since June of 2018.
You haven't rented a car from us since June 18.
Okay, and the car that Blackshire was driving was rented, and you said it was
in December.
And it was like the 18th or something like that?
I can't remember the exact date, yeah.
But it was supposed to be returned the next day.
Yes, it was.
It did not get returned the next day, but Hertz Hertz employees did not report the car stolen until like almost a month later.
Yeah, it was June 4th.
So it was June 4th. They reported the car stolen a month
later. Not June 4th, January 4th.
January 4th, yeah. Yes. So following. Now, as Blackshire was driving, now again, they reported the car stolen, so that goes in like a database. So they license plate and everything goes in a database. So it's like some sort of was a stationary license plate reader. It apparently it pinged the car. It pinged the license plate, and I guess it sent information automatically to, I guess, the officer in charge of that, division. I guess there's a particular detective that deals with stolen cars, and automatically sent him a message about the stolen cars out there. So they were notified of this, and they started watching the car on traffic cameras.
Right. Multiple
Traffic cameras. So they followed the car. They engaged the car. They wanted to wait to engage the car, like maybe when it stopped somewhere, and that's what they did. That's why the car was parked. So they didn't pull the car over.
No.
They wait till the car parked, and then they approached the vehicle, put the blue lights on, and that's when they approached Blackshire's car. Now, it is a legitimate question to ask. Why didn't Blackshire get out of the car, or why didn't he comply? That's a good question. Because he didn't get pulled over, he just got caught. So that's a good question. Like, why didn't he comply? Why didn't he listen to the officer? I don't know what was going through his head.
Look, for me, I don't care. It's a reasonable question. It's definitely a reasonable question. Again, at this point, we don't know if he's a criminal. We have no idea. We don't know if he had a gun. We just have no idea. You can say that, yeah, it would have been a good idea for him to just stay there, just follow the officer's demands, all of his commands, get out of the vehicle. He might be alive today. That's totally reasonable to say that. And I think I would have the same advice as well. Like, yo, you got a gun on you? Please don't move. Like, just follow him. Just follow the commands. We don't know if anything would have been different, because obviously this dude was a trigger-happy officer. But I'm just saying, it would have been a good move for Bradley Blackshire to not do what he did and try to get around him. That does not excuse the officer's actions whatsoever. He put himself in the path of a slow-moving vehicle and created fake excuse to fire into the vehicle at least 15 times and shoot Blackshire dead.
And again, this needs to go. This we can't continue the story without kind of verifying that there's no connection, as far as we know yet, with Blackshire in that vehicle. We still don't know how. Don't know. Yeah, so there's a gap. There's a gap for somebody knows something.
Yeah.
Because if they have record that, what's her name, Latoya Reed. They have record that she rented a car in June, and that's it. But they had her on the arrest report. That's why she called. She was like, why is my name on the arrest report? So that's why she called. And so I'm really wondering, whose name was this car under?
It's very the piece of information that her name is on the rental agreement, yet when she calls the location, the records say that she hasn't rented since June 2018. And when she brings that up, then whoever she spoke to said that, well, you're gonna have to speak to a manager, and that manager isn't there. He's gonna be back in a few days. And again, we don't have any updated information about this, so I don't know if there's been more communication.
There needs to be some communication with somebody at Hertz, because they have proof that she wasn't in possession of that car. So somebody gained possession of that car, right. Whether it has to do with an employee. That's the only direction I can go. That has something to do with an employee.
But again, that's just the backstory of this, because whatever information that we learn about how Blackshire got the vehicle, Latoya Reed, any information that we have is actually going to be trivial at this point, because it was Officer Stark's actions. He murdered Blackshire. So again, Blackshire could be a criminal, but it is the job and the role of an officer to apprehend the criminal, not to act as the judge, jury, and executioner. And where he put himself in front of that vehicle, he gave him he gave himself an out. This is why I shot into the vehicle. My life was in danger. And that's all it takes. We'll see if we'll see if the DA does the right thing and actually charge Officer Starks or former Officer Starks with a crime. I doubt that this will happen.
Yeah, I'm not really confident, man.
No,
I'm not that confident, bro.
We'll see. This is something that we're definitely going to keep an eye on, because, like I said, there's just a lack of information right now. All right, so getting to more police brutality. We have another story for you. Some more police brutality. On March 5th, a Florida woman was arrested after calling the police to report that somebody had pulled a gun on her. You heard me right. She was arrested after calling the police and reporting that somebody pulled a gun on her. So Dima Lovin and her friend Adriana Green, they were outside of Green's home when her neighbors started shouting, not threats, but insults at them, calling them whores and stuff like that. So at first they ignored it, but then Green threw a plant into his yard. At this point, Green said that he responded by pulling out a shotgun and said that he would, quote, shoot my burnt black ass face off my neck, end quote. So they left the scene in a hurry. And when they got to a place that they felt safe, they called 911. So multiple Miami-Dade Police Department officers arrived and spoke with Lovin and Green, and then they spoke to the neighbor. At some point, Officer Alejandro Giraldo arrives on the scene, and Lovin states that immediately Officer Giraldo was acting aggressively and rude. Lovin wanted a police escort back to Green's home so that she can charge her phone and call her children. But Officer Giraldo kept telling her to calm down. It was around this point that Green began video recording. So we have that video to show you.
Just calm down.
You know what? She needs to be corrected, if anything.
Calm down.
All right?
Why? Why do I have to be corrected when my life was just great and my daughter's sick? I just want to go to the store and charge my phone.
Please stop. She didn't even do nothing.
Touch me. Do not touch me. Do not touch me.
What
do
the
not
heck?
record this.
I
Do not
am.
touch me.
What the?
Do not
Why are you
touch
doing that? Why are you doing that?
Do not touch
Why are you
me.
doing
Do
that?
not touch me.
She's
I
not
just
doing
said
nothing.
I wanted to call my kids. I just said I wanted to call my kids. My phone is dead. What do you not understand? I got a gun pointed in front of me, and my kids is sick. I'm stressed out. I need to go call my children.
D. Ramos?
I need to call my kids.
What's his name?
I don't understand.
D. Ramos? 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 Officer, what's your name, please? I'm asking you.
We're busy right now. We're busy right now.
Who can I talk to right now, please?
Please do not let me touch me.
I'll get you out.
Can you touch me? Can you help me up?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Really?
Does anybody have a cage?
Really?
Well, who can I speak to?
Adri, get my hair. Adri's getting my
Move.
hair in my purse. Can you give me a second?
Move.
Can I grab her purse, please? Why does he have to handle her like that? She didn't do anything
I
wrong.
understood, but when he's giving her orders and saying that he's being
But at the-
disorderly, she needs to calm down.
But she
and do
wasn't
as
being
he's saying.
disorderly, though. She wasn't being disorderly. I had the video.
That's unbelievable, man. Lovin was arrested for disorderly conduct. She spent about 4 hours in the back of a police cruiser before being turned in or being booked at Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center, where she remained until 3 a.m. the next day when she posted a $150 bond.
Let's just say she was being disorderly. But see, that's a catch-all phrase that's not definitive. That's so ambiguous. She was probably just talking loud.
She was. You could hear that.
Hear, but again,
But it's kind of justified.
But
she had a gun pointed at her.
Yeah,
that would kind of raise your blood pressure.
It would kind of raise your blood pressure and get you excited.
Yeah.
But let's just say she was talking loud. And she didn't go through that.
Right.
Would that be something that an officer should kind of think is I guess the threat level to that situation is high? Let's say that didn't happen. None of that stuff happened. She didn't get a gun pointed at her. She was just agitated about something else.
Right.
And she was speaking loudly and talking loudly.
Right.
Is that really enough to create some sort of, I don't know, super trooper attitude? Like, is that really enough? Somebody talking loud?
This is a public sidewalk, and she's talking loud. She's agitated, but she hasn't made any threatening movements. She hasn't spoke any threatening words or anything like that. But this police officer, Officer Giraldo, finds the need to actually approach her. She's standing still. She hasn't made any movements towards him. He comes towards her and tries to place her under arrest because he doesn't like her attitude. He doesn't like the tone of her voice.
But see, like if he had a problem with the tone of her voice and he had a problem with the volume, right? Fine. Like, he's an officer. He should be able to kind of calm her down, diffuse the situation. That's what he's there for.
Right.
So if he's not calming her down, then that's on him. He's not diffusing the situation. And if he can't get the situation under control, and he thinks that she is being outrageous, then how does he think that coming towards her and putting his hands on her is going to make that situation better?
Right.
Like, at that moment, it didn't appear as if like he like said anything like, hey, I'm putting you under arrest. Hey, I'm detaining you. You just go and lunge at somebody and then put your hands on that person. Like, you see what I'm saying? He didn't even get her ready for that. It was just like, I'm gonna come and get you. Like, well, it just seemed very sudden.
It was. I guess the good news is that he has been relieved of his duties. So a spokesperson for the Miami-Dade Police Department said that he had been relieved of his duties while an investigation is ongoing. Look, I have nothing but contempt. I have nothing but criticism for this officer, Geraldo. I truly do. His actions were deplorable, not justified whatsoever, ridiculous. He should be charged. He should definitely be charged with a crime. But I have other criticism as well. I have criticism for the other officers there. The other officers actually went ahead with this false arrest. They actually engaged in the same activity of restraining this woman, placing her in handcuffs, making her sit in the back of a police car for 4 hours, and then took her to the correctional facility to book her into jail. Kept her there for hours until the next day where she bonded out $150. These officers clearly saw what we all saw, that Lovin did not do anything that was threatening, did not do anything to warrant an arrest. But Officer Geraldo's fellow officers acted just like he did, abusing the law, and took her in. Police abuse. I mean, police brutality. It's not just Officer Geraldo. That's not the case. See, we always talk about how we want the good cops to stand up. We always talk about that. Hey, if there are good cops out there, please stand up. Like, let it be known that you're not going to stand up for these immoral acts, these unjustified acts by other police officers. They stand to, I guess, they don't represent all of police officers, right? The majority of police officers are good. The majority of police officers just want to do their jobs and actually protect communities, protect people, uphold the law. We see time and time again that fellow officers on the spot will go along with the criminal actions of other officers. Won't say a damn thing about it. How are they better?
It'll be different. Well, it wouldn't be different, but it would be just a little different if maybe the officers on the scene were kind of frozen and didn't know what to do.
Oh, but they weren't.
They weren't
frozen at all.
And it wasn't just their actions, it was their attitude. Because number one, her friend was just asking for the officer's name. He was not busy enough to where he couldn't answer her.
No.
You see what I'm saying? Like, why disregard the person like that? Hey, I want your name, and that's what they're supposed to give. And if he didn't give the name, at least one of the other officers there could have given the name. And then they acted like they didn't want to have anything to do with anything the friend was saying.
Right.
It was like, we're doing something here. We're working here. We're doing something. I'm like, it's 5 of y'all.
And after they took her to the car, though, the friend is asking, like, what did she do? She didn't even do anything. And one of the officers responded to her, hey, she's got to, look, that's disorderly conduct. You know, she's got to follow the commands. Follow the command. This is the United States of America. The last time that I looked, the last time I checked, Florida was a state in the United States of America. This was a public sidewalk. If she wanted to act crazy, if she wanted to shout, if she wanted to be agitated, she could. That doesn't warrant you being aggressive with her, you actually going up to her and putting her in cuffs and arresting her for disorderly conduct. From what I heard on that video too, Seems like, yes, she was perturbed. Again, justifiably so. But nowhere near the level which would warrant cuffs being slapped on her. It's absolutely ridiculous.
We got a bootlicker in the comment section. And I don't want to just focus on this one person, but the only reason I want to highlight this one person because I've kind of heard arguments like this before. Sometimes you can't tell the difference between trolls and bootlickers because there are actually bootlickers that actually kind of hold ideas and attitudes like this. So it could be a troll, but it could just be a resident bootlicker in the comment section. But, you hear arguments like, well, just sue. Like, just sue. Like, we just should wait and sue and, just let the courts handle it. And I just don't like that. Because what you're saying is we should accept a certain level of abuse.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. You're saying we should accept a certain level of abuse now and then worry about it later, and hopefully we'll get like a settlement. Like,
while we take care of it on the front end.
Think about like how nonsensical that is, and people only apply that to cops. They don't apply that to anything else. Would you apply that to car safety features? You wouldn't say, hey, no. Don't worry about these car safety features. These companies and these car manufacturers, they shouldn't have to worry about these car safety features. Just wait to sue them once your mother or father or child dies because the car was constructed in a way that was dangerous. Just wait to sue. Just wait to sue once your mother or your family member dies. Or maybe a gun. You bought a gun and it's manufactured in a faulty way and it goes off. We shouldn't worry about how that gun is manufactured. Just sue. Somebody blows their brains out, just sue them.
Because in all these incidents, you're talking about people that can be killed.
Because
police officers do kill people.
You can apply
unjustifiably so.
You can apply that to anything, and it would not make sense if you're talking about any other subject. But somehow people apply that logic to cops and just say we should have to deal with abuse and then, maybe sue later, and we'll get our recompense.
And the problem with that too is that changes nothing. We have highlighted the fact that in some of these, the largest cities in America, the settlements in a lot of these cities, millions and millions and millions of dollars per year because of police brutality. So nothing changes. The system doesn't change. The actions of these police officers don't change. The cities just pay the settlements, and then the officers keep on doing exactly what they've been doing. There is absolutely no accountability whatsoever. That's what we need to change. We need to change that so that fellow officers, when they see another officer behave inappropriately, they will act on the spot. They won't just go along. They will act on the spot and hold that criminal officer accountable right there.
You have kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if your kids were out misbehaving, right? Your kids were out misbehaving. You know they're misbehaving. They're caught misbehaving, not necessarily in criminal activity, but doing kid stuff that they shouldn't do. Doing stuff they know they shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was reported to you,
right,
as the authority figure in their life. Do you think they would learn anything if you, let's say, paid off the people that they harmed? Or paid off, whatever it is. If they didn't harm anybody, just paid the people off. Like if they did something wrong, maybe at school, right? And the school allowed you to pay something. And so to get your kid off, you think your kid would learn something?
Yes. Yes, they would learn something. They would learn that they can continue doing the same thing over and over again, and daddy's going to be there to bail me out. So in this situation, daddy is, daddy's a lot of people.
The department, prosecutors, politicians, police unions,
and the general public too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the dummy of the day. I think that's where we're at right now. All right.
Yes.
Let's get to the dummy of the day. Oh boy, is this a big dummy. All right. Let me set this up. We have many problems in this country that must be addressed, and one significant problem is race gaps. And we've talked about race gaps before. So between whites and non-whites, there are notable wealth gaps, there are healthcare gaps, educational gaps, etc. Recently, a study was conducted by multiple researchers, including engineering professors, and it found that there is a race gap concerning air pollution. So the study states, quote, quote, pollution is disproportionately caused by whites, but disproportionately inhaled by black and Hispanic minorities. So President Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., he weighed in on this, and this is what he said on Twitter. Just when you thought you've seen it all, now we have racist air. This insanity has to stop.
Is that what the study was saying, that the air itself is racist? Now, do you think, you know what, sometimes like something is so dumb, you have to, I guess, kind of peel back the layers to determine why it sounds so dumb. Yes, it's dumb, but it's dumb because he's purposely trying to transfer blame.
Right.
He's trying to be funny, right? And purposefully, like, I guess, dissociate the people who are causing the pollution and put it on the air and to make it look like they're stupid. You see what I'm saying? So he's being dumb while actually at the same time being psychologically smart. So he's being dumb but being psychologically smart at the same time.
I totally agree. I will say that there is a part of me that believes that Donald Trump Jr. is actually this stupid and he believes that the air is racist. There is a part of me.
Well, he believes the study is saying that?
No. That he believes the air is racist. Or, no, yeah. That the study is saying that the air is racist. There's a part of me that believes that he is that stupid. That's what he took away from this study.
See, I can't believe it. I think he's dumb.
I said just a part of me.
Oh, just a part. Okay, my bad.
Just a part of me believes that. But like you, what's going on here is something much more sinister. He doesn't want to deal with a very uncomfortable truth. So this study is not hard at all. It's not difficult to read it and understand exactly what's going on. These researchers wanted to find out who's being affected by air pollution, who's causing the air pollution, and who's being affected by it. So what they found was that white people are in majority, they're the ones that are creating this pollution. So in the areas where the pollution is at, these are areas that are dominated by minority groups. So we're talking, you could talk about plants and stuff like that where pollution is heavy.
I think they could have maybe, I guess, framed it a little bit better. They could have framed it a little bit better because when they're talking about the things that cause pollution, they're talking about heavy industries.
Right.
So you have to look at who owns these heavy industries. So it's not really talking about white people as a whole, like the general public.
No,
we're talking about
these businesses.
We're talking
that
about
are creating the pollution.
who runs the companies that create air pollution,
right,
water pollution, and stuff like that. So it's not really talking about white people. It's just they could have framed it better. But if you kind of
read it, you would understand.
You understand what they mean.
Exactly what they're meaning.
And obviously, poor communities are affected more when it comes to pollution, and since there's a high percentage of black people that are poor, it's going to affect those communities.
Yeah, minority groups in general that are in these poorer communities. So look, we saw this happen in Flint, Michigan, where the population is majority minority. And what happened in Flint, Michigan? They poisoned the water, right? They poisoned the water. So was that done by minority people? I mean, there could have been some people that were involved that were of minority races, but I mean, I think we all know that those were white people that were doing that. So around the country, this study is saying that, look, there is a race gap in terms of air pollution. So it's something to be looked at, It seems that Donald Trump Jr. is trying to deflect off of this because he does understand it. That he understands that it's a problem, and it's a problem that I guess is a problem more so for white people, that white people that are leading these businesses, they're contributing to the race gap and they're contributing more to the problem of air pollution. But why would Donald Trump Jr. feel guilty about this? You understand? Like you said, this isn't in general. This isn't about just white people in general. This isn't about this white person over here or this white person over here.
Next door neighbor.
No, this isn't about that whatsoever. This is about certain white people. So why would you feel so guilty as to try to joke about this? See, the air is racist.
See, he was trying to be ironic. He was trying to be ironic and trying to like I guess make a meme of it. You know what I'm saying? Make a meme of this study and him being like the platform for that meme. But I think that's what that was about, man. He knows what's up.
Of course he knows what's up.
I just don't think he really believes that the air is racist. That's what he was trying to make it into in order to make the study seem silly.
Yeah, but that's very sinister.
It's to massage his own consciousness.
Yeah. That's very sinister, though, because a lot of people are going to play into that, of course. A lot of people are going to believe that very ridiculous narrative. But again, we have talked about race gaps before. We've talked about the unemployment rate and how it's almost double for black people than white people. Listening to different politicians, listening to Bernie Sanders talk about the race gap in the economy, in terms of wealth, in terms of infant mortality rates, in terms of education, just in terms of poverty in general. There is significant race gaps all across the board. So this is just another one. Now, this does not mean that white people all over the place should be like, damn, I'm white and I'm contributing to this. I feel guilty.
That wasn't the point.
That was not the point whatsoever. But Donald Trump Jr. is going to make you feel like that was the point.
Of course. I mean, we wouldn't expect anything less from Trump Jr. I mean, I don't know, man. He's just like his dad, man. The apple doesn't fall far from the orange.
Sure. The apple doesn't fall from the orange.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So we got one more. Mike is not gonna like this. Mike does not like this this topic that we're gonna be broaching here. Last month, in an interview with The Breakfast Club, Senator Cory Booker confirmed that he has a boo. He has a girlfriend. He has a quote. He has somebody that's, quote, really special. Okay, so there was a lot of speculation as to who that might be, and the speculation surrounded actress and activist Rosario Dawson. So on Thursday, in an interview with TMZ, Rosario Dawson confirmed that she is the boo of Senator Cory Booker. She is the boo. So we don't have the video. I think that would have been too much for you. Yeah, but she was wearing, I believe, some Cory Booker swag on her book bag. I think she was at an airport, either leaving or just coming back from somewhere. And like I said, she confirmed that she is the boo of Senator Cory Booker. It's interesting. It's very interesting because
who did she support?
2016.
Who did she support?
Rosario Dawson not only supported, she strongly supported. She
was out there.
She spoke multiple times.
She was
at rallies for Senator Bernie Sanders.
So that would lead me to believe that, Bernie Sanders' platform appealed to her. So that's what she was about.
In a major way.
So, I mean, to me, and again, I think I told you this, but I think I blocked it out a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was on her Twitter account. It showed her with some stickers, like some Booker stickers. So she was about to actually go hand out some stickers.
Cheering them on.
I was like, nah, that's not happening. I still don't believe it. Now, it's a reality. I'm confused.
Yeah, it's confusing.
I think it's very hard for somebody to separate their politics because according to her, it's not a superficial thing.
It's true.
According to her, it's fundamental to why she's on this planet.
Yeah. If she showed up to these rallies and spoke for Bernie Sanders, that's pretty important.
Yeah, it's pretty important. And she
that's like a core issue.
Spoke about these core issues like they matter. They were a part of her. So I find it very hard. This is just me, to kind of involve myself with people if it's serious. Now, if it's on some superficial junk, hey, whatever. I don't think it matters. But if it's some serious relationship stuff,
where you have to talk to
where
the
you
person,
have to talk to the
relate
person,
to them.
relate to them, and get down to the core of who they are. And I don't think you can separate politics and how people engage with politics with actually who they are as a person. I just don't think you can separate it. And we can fool ourselves into believing you can, but you can't separate that. So I just find it weird that she would get with Cory Booker.
Well, okay. Well, see, this dude's a hypocrite, man, because he ain't tell you, but he's been secretly dating Tommy Loren.
No. First of all, you know I don't call her by her name.
You do not.
Tommy Larva.
That would be difficult. How you going?
Tommy Larva. Turtle lotion.
That'd be offensive.
Teriyaki lentils.
Look, man.
Yeah, that would be like, yo.
Yo, Tommy.
Yo, Tommy. Yo, what's up, girl? Like, come on over here with your racist self. Yeah, girl, I know you talk bad about Black Lives Matter, but that turns me on. Like, how that look? Like, you know, being romantically
Black Lives Matter to the KKK. But yeah, okay, we can get
okay,
it.
you know that. Like, you could.
I don't understand. All right, should be back on. I don't understand that. What? There's no way that. I don't understand what that is, man. Man, YouTube, I don't understand what this is. I don't think it's the software. I think it has to be YouTube. Because, again, we're fine on Twitter. We're fine on Twitch. So I believe this is a problem with YouTube. But it looks like we're back on. So, yeah, Mike was just ending his commentary about why it would be so difficult for him to actually date Tommy Larva,
or
teriyaki
lentils, or turtle lotion, whatever her name is. Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's not equivalent to Rosario Dawson and Cory Booker, but still,
not on that extreme.
But
level.
Still, but like if the politics is like bigger than just, I don't know, it's just bigger than the stage that you're on. Politics is way bigger than that. If you are really passionate about like pushing a certain platform, a certain agenda, and engaging with people in a certain way, that's who you are. I have a hard time separating people's politics from who they are and how they engage with people. I agree. Two things should match up. I just could not engage romantically, seriously now. Seriously. I'm not talking about just like, you know what I'm saying, something like frivolous. But if it's something serious and we getting together, then like there's going to be some friction there.
Yeah, because something's going to come up, especially if politics and the state of our country and the state of this world is important to you, it's going to show up from time to time. If you're like butting heads on that can be a real serious issue. I remember, man, when I was a real young man, probably this might have been right out of high school. I remember like coming to the revelation that love is completely illogical. You can't really explain it. It can cause you to do some really ridiculous things.
And look over some very obviously problematic things,
yes.
too.
And it could reach to a point where it will surpass love and it will get to like insanity. Like it could cause you to make some really poor decisions, and that won't really be about love anymore. That will be about like destructive behavior. That will go beyond love. But again, like if you're in love, there are some situations that might arise, some decisions that you make where other people can't understand it whatsoever. Other people cannot not understand, why are you making that decision? Why are you staying with this guy? Why are you staying with this woman? It doesn't make any sense. And in the long run, it might pay off. It might make all the sense in the world for you and that other person. I totally understand that. But again, like this is just interesting because, again, we know what politics is to her. And she was, again, a main figure, integral figure in the Bernie Sanders campaign.
She was at rallies.
She was at rallies speaking right before Bernie Sanders. So she was on Team Bernie in 2016. His agenda lined up with her ideology. Now, on the other side of that was Cory Booker, who was with Hillary Clinton. And she had very critical words of Hillary Clinton. We have a clip of one instance where I know you will probably remember this. I believe this was in New York when Bernie was in New York. This was just before the debate in New York. And as you can remember, Hillary Clinton did not want to do that debate. And I believe this was right after David Brock had said, "Tone it down, Bernie." And this was also after Hillary Clinton and her campaign had very critical words to say, because they were making it seem like Bernie Sanders did not care about women's issues. You remember Donald Trump, when he was on the campaign, I believe he was being interviewed by MSNBC. I can't remember. But as you can recall, he said something about punishing women if they got abortions. And then he changed it. Oh, well, no, not women. I don't want no punishment for women, but doctors. Yeah, doctors, right? So then Bernie was asked about that. And Bernie, he said, well, like, why are we giving so much space? Like, why are we affording Donald Trump so much opportunity to speak? Like, why are we covering this guy so much? Let's talk about some real issues, right? So Hillary Clinton jumped on that opportunity to hit him and say, oh, well, women's issues aren't important? Oh, see, you shouldn't be the president, blah, blah, blah. So this is Rosario Dawson talking about that and having critical words for Hillary Clinton.
There's this rumor that is being perpetuated that Trump talking about abortion and punishing women and doctors then for it, that somehow Bernie Sanders was saying that that wasn't an important issue. Regardless of the fact that he's always stood up for women's rights, equal pay, equality, and is pro-choice, which the other Democratic candidate very well knows. There is this rumor that is pitching out there that because he's saying that we're giving Trump too much time on the airways and we need to stop feeding into that hate and talking about the issues, that somehow that meant that he doesn't care about women's issues. Shame on you, Hillary. No, oh, sorry, hold on. Let me watch my tone.
Like, she's being sarcastic. I like that. Because remember, tone it down.
Tone it down, Bernie.
Remember, Bernie got called out for interrupting Hillary Clinton in one of the debates.
That was sexist.
But see, now that you think about it, like, kind of Hillary Clinton's kind of condemnation of Bernie Sanders in that moment made sense based on what her campaign was trying to do. They were like, yeah, let Trump talk and let him dig a hole for himself. That was the Hillary campaign strategy.
Right.
Just that's fine. Let the media cover Trump. You know, he'll bury himself. So I don't even think that was about an honest critique of Bernie. I don't even think that was like a way to actually hit Bernie. I think that was a way to kind of preserve their campaign. Oh, no. Don't say, Bernie, don't say that. Like, that's our campaign strategy. We got to keep Trump out there. That was the only way she could do it. That's the way she could do it. I don't think she cares. I don't think she really, I don't even think it was about hitting Bernie. I think it was about preserving that kind of campaign strategy.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily want to take back everything I said about my disagreement with their relationship, because I don't know them. I don't know. I don't know them. I'm disappointed, but I don't know them. Obviously, it's extreme to like equivocate like their relationship with, like, let's say me getting with Tommy Loren. That's an extreme. That's an extreme because you know she thinks Black Lives Matter is the KKK. She's like a conservative. She's a bigot. So it would just look weird if I got with her for any reason. Like the only reason why I'm with her is some superficial stuff, like she makes some good sweet potato fries. You know what I'm saying? Or she know how to do some pancakes. Like, obviously, like, all that stuff could be completely overshadowed by her social views and her political views. So that would be extreme. Probably a more apt comparison would be like me dating Joanne Reed. That would be a more apt comparison. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, I can see
or like, no, it can't be Rachel Maddow because she don't play for our team. But like anybody like like on CNN, anyone on CNN.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that would probably be a better comparison. There would probably be less room for friction because there is at least some probably points of connection there. So like when I'm looking at it like from like I guess from that perspective, I can still see there being some points of connection, but since she has been so involved in politics, and so entrenched in it and so immersed in it and kind of been very insightful and detailed about why she's involved in it, it's different. That's why. You know, it just comes off as different for me.
Again, love is love, you know, and we don't know their relationship. We don't know. Yeah, we don't know how they got together. What was like the glue that keeps them together, and you know, has her praising him because she said he was a very intelligent person, special, beautiful person, blah blah blah. She believes in his candidacy for president. It's just interesting because we're on the way to 2020 now. And she was a very fervent supporter of Bernie Sanders. And now that he's back in for president in 2020, and she's not going to be supporting him, she's going to be supporting Cory Booker, who was supporting Hillary Clinton. Now, again, when she feels the question, because of course she's going to get the question. So you're backing your man, of course. You're backing Cory Booker, but what about Bernie? She's going to have to answer that. And she's going to have to answer like, well, why? And she's going to have to try to sell that idea, not being biased, too.
It's not going to work. I don't think she can sell it. Like, we got maybe some speculative thinking in the comment section, maybe to kind of smooth this situation over. But right now, I'm too distraught to even believe something like that. But we have some people saying in the chat that it's her way of getting on the inside. What is you think it's like some sort of like up close and personal intervention? You think it's like she getting with so are you saying let's see, that box is hot? Is that what you're saying? You saying her box is that hot? Are you saying her box is gonna change Cory Booker? Is her box that hot? I'm just saying. You think he getting up in there and be like, oh man, like I'm absorbing all these progressive juices. Nah, I don't think so. I'm going to change my politics. Man, that box was so hot.
Well, look, on the surface and rhetorically, he is trying to change his politics. So maybe she saw the transition and maybe she actually believed in the transition.
Whatever, man.
We don't know. We don't know. But hey, best of luck to you, I guess. Best of luck. I just can't wait until, again, that first question comes about Bernie Sanders. Because there's definitely a gap between Bernie Sanders and Cory Booker. Like, if you were already dating Cory Booker, but then in the next election you were like, you know what, I'm supporting Bernie this time, that would make sense. Because that would be a trajectory where it was like, oh, I understand that. But to go from to go from here and to back somebody worse politically.
And you know who else has bad for it too? Because it's not her that's just is going to get that question. It actually, it's like looks bad on Bernie too, kind of. I don't think. I don't know. Well, I don't think it would like look bad to people who like support him for legitimate reasons, but like optically to the media. And to
I don't know, because she's with him. If she wasn't with him and then she backed him, maybe so. But her being with him, everybody's like, well, you're with him. Of course you're gonna.
It would look weird if you still supported Bernie.
That'd be crazy.
Though, yeah, that would
be crazy.
That would be the end of the relationship.
That would be crazy.
That would be the end of the relationship.
But you know what? There is one relationship I remember. You remember Eric Cantor, who was in the House. I think he was the majority leader, right? Eric Cantor. He is actually married to a Democrat. And they've been married for years.
What about the Corville dude?
Yeah, he's married.
He's married to like a conservative Republican. But see, you know what that has to do with. That's not about like they really don't have different views. There may be some social views maybe that they give up and they compromise on, but for the most part, they're a part of kind of the same aristocracy, and they know that.
Because Cantor's wife is involved politically too.
So it's like the fact that one has an R behind their name and one has a D behind, but their name, it doesn't matter because they're a part of the same aristocracy. They know. So it's really no divisions. It's kind of fake. You know what I'm saying? So.
All right. More to come from that probably.
I'm trying not to pay attention to it, man. I still don't want to believe.
Will she speak? Will she speak for him?
She speak on his behalf?
Will she speak for? Because she is active politically. She is definitely a voice in political conversation. Will she actually jump up on that podium and speak in support of her man, her boo, Cory Booker.
Her bae.
Boy, this is gonna be interesting. All right, so with that, we're gonna begin taking calls. We would love for you to join the conversation. If you would like to, just call the number 669-900-6833, and we will get you on. Anxious to hear what you have to say about the many topics that we have covered on tonight's program. Rosario Dawson, boy. She looked like she was in love, though. I will say that. She looked like she was glowing. She looked joyous. Must be love.
It got something.
Must be
it's
love.
Something.
Love is in there. There was a lot of speculation about it too. That, I mean, I think people had seen them together, and in recent days, people had seen more of them together, and it's confirmed now. I'm telling you, man. She's making the case, man. Maybe you holler at Loren, man. I mean, you can change things.
First of all,
you can change things, man.
She ain't even cute, dog.
She's not ugly. She's not ugly. I won't say that. She's not ugly.
Tom Loren's not cute, dog.
I think you're reading more into it.
Why? Because,
I think you're seeing her personality.
No, because I've been through that before. It's amazing how people actually like start to look like who they are on the inside. I've been through that before.
Yeah.
Where I like start dating somebody.
You internalize what they are, and then what you see on the surface.
Everything they do, like all the faces they make, they start to look like they start to look stank to me.
Yeah, I agree.
But look, maybe that's what it is. But
it could be.
It could be.
She disgusts me. Don't get me wrong. She disgusts me.
So maybe that's a part of it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not recognizing that. Like me being disgusted with who she is as a person and her attitude and her views is affecting how I see her physically. Maybe not. But I just don't like. She ain't my type anyway. Skinny, no features.
She is skinny.
Skinny blonde with no features.
Blonde hair.
Get out of here.
Yeah. All right, so we got our first call of the night. It's coming from the 240 area code. Let's welcome the caller. You are on the air live with LTMB. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is Rashid. I go by Rashid Like. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and every daggone thing else. I'm happy that you guys got this show. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk about all these different subjects. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I started the program a while ago. I was driving back home for about an hour, so now I'm back on the YouTube, and I'm watching you guys on my PlayStation. There's a little bit of a delay, so sorry about that one.
All right.
So where are you calling from, man?
That delay was that's what that delay was. I'm calling from Maryland, man. You know, so I'm in the heart of PG County up here. Yeah, man, heart of PG County. You know, we got black folks being successful at every turn. You know, and also black folks being unsuccessful at every turn. So dang on shame up here. But I'm calling them because I like Bernie Sanders' policies. You know, but one thing that got me was that, a lot of his policies, even though they disproportionately affect black people, they actually give the same ability and help to all people. So I don't know if his policies are actually going to close the wealth gap between black and white Americans. I'm keeping my options open because, the election is still 1.5, a year and a half away. So, I was looking at Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, they tried to pull their platitudes out. And honestly, I don't believe anything they got to say because honestly, when you look at their history, they just ain't there, like they just trying to get the promotion. And the same thing for Elizabeth. You look at her record, she's nice, she gives fiery speeches, but then it's like she don't lock no bankers up, So I noticed up here, again, we in PG County, we make up 67% of the population. So, we everything from the police chiefs to the police officers, and we're still affected by racism up here. In fact, police officers up here were actually trying to get a lawsuit against a lot of the precincts up here because they were experiencing racism. And I'm like, you're 67% of the population, and racism is just pervasive, man. It's still affecting you, So, I'm trying to get, I'm trying to hear what policies of Bernie Sanders is actually going to not just disproportionately, but exclusively help Black people to stop us from having such horrible, you know, I don't want to say intergenerational poverty, but I mean, it just kind of seems like, you know, the number one way that Americans pass on wealth is through housing. And what you just said was that, you know, pollution is affecting Black Americans more than it's affecting white Americans. And they're creating more of the pollution because, you know, majority of realtors in the country, people who show Black people homes, are white Americans. And the thing is that even in PG County, where we make up the majority of the population, we're still being affected by that same issue. In fact, I live not too far away from a waste treatment facility. So the reality situation is that, you know, like my girl, she came up here from Texas, and Texas just had that hurricane, and they got BPA and BFM or whatever other chemicals and coal ash coming down in their waters. And she was having problems breathing. Her legs were hurting. And she's came up here where we have a lot cleaner environment, and she's feeling healthier. So, you know, I mean, I know that's anecdotal information right there, but I'm just talking that is a testament to the fact that Black people are being affected by waste and other agricultural issues more than their white counterparts. I don't see Bernie Sanders' bills or policies buying out Black homes when like 48% of Black Americans live beside water treatment facilities or toxic waste dumps or other stuff like that. Because there's been multiple articles that talk about how Black Americans are dying at higher rates. We die of cigarette cancer more, even though studies show that Black Americans get started smoking later and don't smoke as long as white Americans do, and we're still dying of the same afflictions that they're having. Because when we go to the hospitals, doctors who are educated, who are upper class, who are supposed to be well-meaning people, they just don't believe us when we say we have pain. Like, what was that? Like, it was a Black woman that died of a blood clot. You know, let me say that. I'll pull out Serena Williams. She had to force her doctor to give her an exam so that she wouldn't have a blood clot and die. And Bernie Sanders touts all the time. Sorry, I just had to move my TV. Bernie Sanders touts all the time that the rate for Black babies living is like a 10-to-1 disparity between white people. And I'm like, so what policies are you specifically pushing to solve that issue? Because I keep hearing sweeping policies, but I'm not seeing any specifics that are going to give Black people relief. Like, I mean,
let's chime in there. Let's chime in there for a second.
Like, we need to give some full disclosure, because even though we support Bernie, I think we both, I and Will, are to the left of Bernie.
Yeah, I don't think Bernie is. We've had multiple criticisms of Bernie Sanders. So Bernie Sanders is not a perfect candidate. We know that on several issues, and that includes issues of race, of a Black agenda, he does need to be pushed. No doubt. There's no doubt to that whatsoever. Along the, you know, when he was running for president in 2016, you could say he made missteps. You could say that he altered his campaign, his platform, his agenda in a positive direction. And I think you would be correct in saying that. I think the same thing has to be done in 2020. His responses on reparations, although I don't believe they're horrible, I would like to see something more. I definitely would like to see something more. So it's not just on that. You're bringing to the table a lot of different issues where, like, that's not actually even talked about. The pollution gap, is that going to actually be talked about on a debate stage? I don't believe so. The issues that you were talking about, are they going to be talked about on a debate stage? I don't believe so either. So we need somebody that is going to be in that leadership position that actually states the problems, not just, you know, just in general, but for certain segments of of communities like Black people, like brown people, Asian people, these communities that get overlooked and are always underrepresented and that are disenfranchised routinely. So I don't, you know, I won't say that Bernie Sanders, at this point, I'm not going to say that Bernie Sanders is the best thing that we can envision. Yeah. I'm not going to say that because I've noted that Marianne Williamson, I think she's probably to the left of Bernie Sanders. Mm-hmm. Andrew Yang, he's probably to the left of Bernie Sanders. Do they have a better shot than Bernie Sanders? No, no way do they have. No way. So
let's be real.
Yeah. So go ahead. You go.
Yeah, and I think, like, it's unfortunate, but, like, the system that has been created and been perpetuated for so long kind of has caused people to see Bernie Sanders as the best option.
Yeah.
Even though he's not as left as I would like him.
Right.
But if you're thinking about him in relation to the system we live in, he seems like a cut above everyone else. Even though his politics, in my opinion, don't go far enough. But we've gone down the deep end so much. Anything above that would seem good. And like, we are honest about what Bernie Sanders' politics is proposing, or his economic system. Like, we acknowledge that it's a more, I don't know, nicer form of capitalism. Yeah. That's really all it is. Yeah. It's a capitalism that treats people nicer, and it doesn't really, like,
it gives money to all of us.
Yeah, it doesn't.
All of us are working.
It doesn't really. Like, I'm honest about the fact that it doesn't really do anything to, like, shift global power. It doesn't really do anything about, like, transference of wealth and from the hands of the ruling class to, you know, the labor class, and specifically, like, minority labor classes. So, like, we're honest about that. So it's just that we talk about Bernie Sanders in relation to this system we have right now, and thinking about what kind of incremental changes will be good for right now, and not seeing Bernie Sanders as the end all and be all of, like, what is the, I guess, I don't know, the end all and be all to be progressive and to be a leftist. So yeah, we that's how we see Bernie Sanders.
I don't see Bernie Sanders end all be all. I just see, you know, that he is a much needed step forward, and Rosario Dawson backing him was a really big deal. I really do want to see what she's going to say about Cory Booker, because honest to goodness, I mean, I don't know what in the world, like, she thinks that he's going to offer that Bernie isn't already ahead of him on, especially with Beto O'Rourke. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of stuff from a lot of people that just saying some outright outlandish things that just aren't based in facts. But the reason why I called in was because all those issues that I spoke about, I feel as, you know, you're a black channel, you know, I know that my friends that watch you are all black. You know, I feel as though, you know, like, even given, like, you know, 10 or 15 or even like 20 minutes, you know, saying, like, these are real issues that are affecting our community. Like, you know, you're visible. We have a sense of hypervisibility on social media, because, like, every black person has like 5 social media accounts. So, you know, pushing our pushing our representatives, it goes a lot farther, because we usually go in a block. And something that, you know, like, I feel like the ultra left, you know, if I can co-opt that term from, you know, bad people for a second, you know, are the black folks that are talking about reparations and stuff like that. You know, like, I feel like just pushing our our representatives to say, okay, at least they're going to study them with HR 40 will go a lot farther than just saying, you know, like, oh, I want a check. Because, I mean, I don't think that a check is the thing that's going to help us. I think that restoring wealth into our communities into the same way that America has done for white individuals will work out way better. You know, like, actually creating schools specifically to teach people how to do specific things that are needed, like the STEM or STEAM or whatever they want to call it, and specifically saying, no, we're giving these programs to black individuals to make them more represented in these areas, and also stopping legislation from other groups from attacking black people, like a lot of Asian Americans are using right now to get rid of affirmative action and to get a larger piece of the college piece of that pie. You know, like, I'm not trying to say anything bad about individuals, but as a group, I'm seeing how facts matter. And I'm not gonna lie to you, man, like, I was on, like, a lot of this, you know, Pan-Africanist stuff, a lot of this, you know, we all need to get along, we all need to fight together. And then I'm noticing, like, hey, you know, honest to goodness, we're being left behind. And it's like, you know, but I just want to call about politics real quick. And that was I'm gonna jump off this line. Y'all got some more people, but I just wanted to just chat about that, because I'm definitely seeing how, you know, having to, when you cut out rich black people, like, it's just like so many of us are not doing well. And I'm in the heart of where all the rich black people are. Like, I don't even know, like, all my friends have big old homes with two door garages. We got like at least $350,000 worth of homes each. I mean, like, it's just not the same. And when I look at black people, like my girlfriend who came from Texas, I'm like, what do you mean you don't have a car? What do you mean you don't have a passport? What do you mean you don't have a license? What do you mean you don't have a savings account? What do you mean you don't have, you know, like a little bit of stock in every single job you ever worked in? Like, they don't just give you stock. And she's talking to me and she's like, no, what are you talking about? And I'm like, that's like a thing for black people over here in PG County. And I'm like, you know, I don't know. I just want to call in and ask y'all about that because, you know, y'all do be having some very insightful views and you guys have a lot more, you know, time. No, I won't say time. You guys do a lot better at managing your time to do research the way that a lot of us don't. And honestly, if you guys did some crowdfunding to like upgrade, you know, I'm not talking anything bad about your channel, but if y'all did some crowdfunding to upgrade your, you know, your equipment, your backdrop and everything else, I mean, I know for a fact, you know, folks up here would definitely back that. I mean, look at the Humans Report. That homeboy did like crowdfunding like 3 daggone months and he got his whole setup upgraded. So, you know, if you just honest with people straight up and you're just like, you know, no, we want better mics, better cameras and this type of stuff. I know for that for sure we back you. So, you know, thank you for your time, man.
Appreciate you calling in, Rasheed, man. We hope you call in again, man. But you told some truth on here. I think that was important for everybody listening in. All right, so we're going to get to the next caller. I believe that's 770 area code. You're on the air live with LTMB.
Hello?
Hello?
Tony.
What's going on?
Yes, it's Tony.
What's going on, Tony? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I just wanted to make a little comment about Dawson and Booker dating. It's like, man, who in the world who would be dating Booker's old corny ass?
Yeah, man.
I can't even believe that Dawson of all people, you dating damn Cory Booker, you couldn't get nobody else. You got that corny motherfucker.
It's something. Hey, they got linked somehow. I'd love to hear that backstory. I don't know how it happened.
I don't.
But I told you, love is love. We don't know what that issue was, like how it all came together, but love is irrational, man. So I don't know.
Man, he gotta be paying her. Like, yeah, you know, here's some money. I just
Hey now, what you saying about Rosario there, dog?
She's just going like she can't get a gig, so he's like, yeah, you know, here's $10,000 retainer fee, so I can go on camera talking about I got a boo, so I'll get this election. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, Booker might be a Mac.
Yo,
he might be a Mac.
Don't you ever
I'm
say
saying we
Cory
don't
Booker
know.
and the word Mac in the same sentence.
Dude might know how to spit game. I'm just saying.
If Cory Booker ever spits game, you know it's robotic.
But see, that might be a facade that he's putting on when he's actually in his whole facade, you know, of being a representative, a senator. That might be just his stage appearance.
Girl, if me and you get together, we will take over the world. You know what I'm saying? He probably says stuff like this. Our relationship will be a beacon for everyone else to observe.
Ridiculous.
Man. And follow. Us together. Our love will cascade across the globe and change it. Like, come on now. You know he's saying some dumb shit like that.
Hey, if this is real, something grabbed Rosario Dawson. And it couldn't be something corny like that. It couldn't be that. So, I don't know, man.
I don't know. I'm just saying. He seems like he's corny as fuck to me. I don't know.
He does. But there might be more layers that we don't see. I'm just saying. That would be really interesting if we caught him off camera like, yo.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
You mean like on what was that comedy with the dude from Saturday Night Live? It was a movie. It was he was a player. What was it called? It was like
I know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about. It was Tim Meadows. He played Tim Meadows.
Yeah.
What was that movie?
I can't remember. What it was
you know what I'm
called,
saying? So he could be a player like that.
He might be, man.
He could have got it by just saying, "Want to go out and get a fish sandwich?"
Could have been Carlton on the Fresh Prince. Remember how he transitioned into the gangster?
Oh, you mean when he stayed with Jazz?
Yes.
Oh, so Cory Booker stayed with Jazz for a weekend?
Maybe.
Oh Lord.
He got a hold of Rosario Dawson, change his whole, just change everything.
Yeah, man. That's right, ladies man. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Timothy. It was a ladies man.
I don't know.
Hey, and another thing I wanted to comment on was that story about the pollution. It's like you gotta have a study in order, to have some evidence to back up, any policy and whatnot. I understand all that. All right, I didn't fall off the turnip truck, but at the same time, it's the same thing Black people are saying for like forever.
True.
We got more pollution in our neighborhoods than is anywhere else in like the surrounding counties of whatever city that we're talking about, right? Like look at Flint, Michigan. All the poisoned water is going to them. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, man. Yeah, a study just confirmed it, but we already knew that, and we knew that because of these poor areas, they can do it. The government can do it. The government will allow other businesses to do it.
Exactly. That's why you have the city dump is like right next to the biggest Black community in the area. It's like come on, dude. And he's then fucking numbnuts, which would be Trump's son, talking about, now the air's racist. No, motherfucker, it's just you.
I like that. I like that. All right, Tony, man.
But yeah, that's all I got, man. I'll let somebody else talk.
All right, man. Appreciate you always calling in, man.
All right.
We actually kind of touched on that when we talked about the Dakota Access Pipeline.
What?
And why.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a good example.
Exactly. Why it went the specific route that it did.
Specific route it did. We didn't hear that it was going to go somewhere else because other people who were of affluence and white made us think about it going in their backyard.
Yep. And all they had to do was make a stink.
It was very low. It was a low.
Oh yeah. They didn't have to like stand outside with signs or anything in the cold, and
they just had to
get peppered with rubber bullets or anything like that.
They had to make a
phone call. All right, so we got 2 443 numbers. I believe the first one was 4438. All right, so we're gonna go to 4438. All right, you're on the air live with LTMB.
Hey, how you brothers doing? This is Shahid. I called in maybe a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, what's going on, Shahid?
I was just going to speak up on that story you were doing about like the government waste or whatever, because I was in the military and I do logistics, like ordering stuff with the military.
Okay.
And that is true. Like if they give us like a certain amount of money, you have to like totally spend it all, or when the next budget comes around, you won't get what you got the previous year. If you prove that you can survive off a lesser pot of money.
Right. Now see.
So when they come down to the end of the FY, people just spend money on like ridiculous things just so they can spend up all their money.
So I mean, I wonder how many people actually know this information. Now, this was an article that was published, and it wasn't an article that was in CNN. It wasn't an article that was on ABC News or MSNBC, NBC, nothing like that. All right. So these aren't stories that are really reaching the majority of people. But no doubt, I'm sure that many people that are in the government that are just informed, they know this information. They know there's like rampant abuse. There's rampant waste within the government.
Yeah, so like when you first get when the new FY start, most of the time the government don't have a budget, so you don't have money for the first couple months of the new FY. But they'll as the FY go on, they keep giving you money. So by the time you get to the end of the FY, you got this big chunk of money still in your account, and you got to spend it. Your department head's like, he won't let you just like let that money go to waste. So they're gonna buy something regardless of what it is, just so they can keep their budget for next year.
And what is so disgusting about this too is because every single Trump proposal, his budget for a new year. All right, so he just came out with his 2020 budget. And what does it call for? It calls for an increase for defense spending. Defense spending, which, of course, we know now. We knew before, but we know now that they don't need all that money. They don't need billions and billions of dollars, but Trump wants to give them even more.
But if you think about it, when they get it, they'll do just like we've been talking about.
Yeah.
They'll make an excuse to use it. They'll have an excuse to use it.
I know.
And I mean, it does make sense that he wants to increase because we have increased bombing in Syria. We increased bombing in Somalia too. So
it's like I said, it's disgusting.
Drone strikes.
The right thing to do here would be to conserve money, right? Because again, we're dealing with $22 trillion in debt. The right thing to do here would be to conserve money, to put that money into areas where we can actually grow the economy. We could pay down the debt possibly. You know, like we can do things that are actually going to benefit the interest of the United States of America, not the government.
Yeah, I mean, I just order like medical supplies and little dental supplies and stuff like that. And when we get down to the end of the FY, I'm like searching around for stuff just to spend money on because we got to spend it.
Millions of dollars for crab, millions of dollars for lobster tail, thousands of dollars for a chair.
For like the crab and all that type of stuff. Like when I was in the military, you'd be on the ship for like 6 to 9 months. You eat crappy food for the majority of the time. And then every once in a while they'll have like a steak day or something just to kind of boost up the morale or something. So maybe that's where that money for steak and lobster comes. Because when you think about like carriers and stuff, that's like a mini city pretty much floating on the water. That's down with the soldiers and sailors on there. So
well, like I said, man, we understand what the problem is. It's just that one, the media has to do their job in acting as the source of information to actually, inform people. And two, we need leaders in the government to step up and actually do what's right. But we need different people within the government because for too long, they're okay with this type of abuse. But we appreciate it, Rashid.
Well,
we appreciate you giving us your personal story.
Shine a little light on that.
Yeah. But we appreciate your personal story,
all
man.
Right.
Shedding some light.
All right, have a good one, brother.
All right, you too, man. All right, so we're going to get to 443. I believe this is who I think it is. Court, is that you?
Yeah, fellas, what's going on? It's Court, man. How y'all doing?
Good, man. Good. Can't complain tonight, man. What's going on with you?
Man, I'm just chilling. My ears perked up when you guys were trying to define love. Yeah, you guys are going to have a hard road to hoe on that one.
Man, that's a something that we could talk for ages about.
Yeah.
Well, first off, it's a concept. It's an emotional concept.
Mm-hmm.
I dare anybody to sit there and define love and actually come up with a concrete definition of it. You can't.
Nah,
you know what I mean? Like you just can't. Some people you would think would be hated enemies end up having beautiful relationships together. Other people you think are completely compatible can't spend 2 minutes around each other. Explain that. It's because it's not really a thing. It's just it's an idea. It's like God or some shit. You know what I mean? Like it's not really true. It's what you want it to be.
Right.
So, I mean, Rosario Dawson and Cory Booker, hey, I mean, if they like each other, they like each other. Some of the people that get together in the world, you wouldn't think would get together in the world, but they do, and it works out. I mean, you can't really fault the man or fault the woman for who they fall in love with. You don't get to choose who you fall in love with. I mean, that's like the most poignant thing that I can say about that. You don't get to choose who you love. Now, you get to choose how you act on it, and you get to choose, you get to choose where it goes sometimes. Sure. But at the end of the day, you just walking around in the world one day and all of a sudden you love this person. That's what happens. Yeah. You don't get to control that shit.
That's true.
And a lot of life that you don't get to control. Did you get to choose your parents? Did you even get to choose whether you were born? You know what I'm saying? Like people walk around thinking they have this control over their emotions and what they feel, and you don't have control over any of that shit. You really don't.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I always said when I was young, it's probably when I was heartbroken or something. still loving some girl or something like that. I was like, man, why do I love this girl still?
Well, see, I think it's like maybe we don't give as humans we don't give ourselves enough credit for how fast we process things and how fast our brain processes things. So there's probably a lot of things running in the background inside of us and inside of our heads that we're not aware of and that we're influenced
Well, you can't
by.
be, yeah.
You can't be because it's.
Oh yeah, dude. 90% of your brain is just 90% of what goes on in your head is unknown to you.
Yeah.
Like 10% of your brain is like a human interface.
That's scary,
Basically,
isn't it, man?
it's your brain bullshitting you, telling you everything is okay and that you're in control. And 90% of your brain is doing stuff in the background, which is really important. You know, I mean, some physical things, some mental things, some psychological things. But you really don't, you can't predict or control that shit. You don't even know what's going on at the time. You know what I mean? That's the human mind is really, it's a smoke machine. It's there to obscure the true nature of reality. It's like Arthur Schopenhauer said. He called it the will to life, right? And basically what it states is that you will do anything and everything to survive, up to and including shit that you sat down and thought about it for 5 minutes you would think was absolutely crazy. And you'll do it. You'll do it because you want to survive. Yep. And you'll do it on autopilot too. You'll do it on autopilot.
Yeah. I think that's where the whole hindsight is 20/20 comes in.
Oh yeah.
Because as you're living and as you're being a human being, you're kind of living in your experience and really, and a lot of times not really self-aware of it. And then once you go through it, you're like, hold on a second, I did all this. No, I gotta process everything I did so I won't do it again. I think that's why changing is so hard, because we're completely unaware at most times of like what we're doing, who we are, how we come off, and how we engage. And now, obviously, there's a lot of societal programming and a lot of things we internalize in society that kind of push us in certain directions, and especially who we, I guess, choose for a mate. And like someone mentioned in the comment section, like usually people get with each other based on a level of attractiveness that society sets. So everybody is like with somebody who is deemed attractive and on a certain level, according to societal standards. So,
and it's not just about love too. I mean, I think you were both making the point that it's about just decisions that you make. I always thinking back to my time in high school, maybe even before, but specifically in high school, the decisions that I would make is like, damn it, if I knew what I knew, like, you know, just like a few years after I graduated, my gosh, I'd be in such a better position.
Yeah, and the questioning your own motives as well.
Yeah. It's like, why'd I do that when it was clear I should have done this?
But I'm kind of glad Court kind of led off with the whole concept of love and really not it being kind of ambiguous, because I usually like to ask people who say things like, what's the common phrase that people say? I want somebody to love me for me. And usually when I hear people say that, I'll say, okay, that's what you want, right? And I'll say, what is love? And they won't have an answer. It's like, then why are you asking for it? It's like they won't have a working definition for themselves about what love is. So what are you actually requesting? Then I'll say, who are you? You said you want somebody to love you for you. Okay, what is love? And who are you? And they're just like, damn. When you think about it.
All right, but let's wrap this up. Court, I'd love to talk to you more. We got a couple more callers and only about 9 minutes left. But we thank you for calling in, man.
All right, fellas, y'all have a good night.
All right, you too, bro.
All right, so let's get to 980 area code. You're on the air live with LTMB.
What's up, man? This is Will from North Carolina.
What's going on, Will? How's it doing?
Good. How y'all doing?
Can't complain, man. What you got for us?
Let's see. I was kind of in between two different things here. I've seen an article, you know, when I called last time, I was talking about some articles that I've seen recently. I've seen something else in an article too, in a major, you know, publication. I thought, you know, it feels like there's some pushback against traditional faulty ideas, and this one was about. I seen this. It was about willpower, And then I noticed there were several articles in different places that were talking about how willpower is, you know, another dangerous and, you know, faulty idea. And, you know, I just think, I don't know how much to get into that unless you have a question about it, but I just think it goes to show that once again we're being fooled about a lot of stuff. You know, we believe a lot of stuff is just not realistic, and I don't understand why we can't get science into the mainstream more. Because, I mean, it's making our world stupid and ignorant and ridiculous. You know, we don't know, you know, we're all arguing about shit. We don't really even know the facts that go into what we're talking about. And it just makes for a bunch of people that are easy to control. And I think that's the biggest problem we have.
The biggest problem is that we don't talk about the relevant issues? Is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry, say that again.
The problem is that we don't talk about the relevant issues?
You said the relevant?
Yeah.
Well, you know, we probably don't do that enough. Well, we definitely don't do that enough, but I mean, a lot of times we're not even aware of the relevant issues, I believe, because the mainstream puts all this other stuff out in front of us for distraction. So that's a good point too. But I think on the most relevant issues, if they do get talked about at all, it's in a very surface, you know, or in a weird way, or with a bunch of arguments from people who don't even understand the facts about what they're talking about.
All right. Well, I mean, look, that's a really deep conversation, and honestly, we don't even have the time to go into it. Honestly, we have one more caller that we want to get to.
Because what you're talking about is a general truth.
Yeah, it is.
It's a general truth.
Not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, that's an in-depth conversation that involves like many different layers and many different topics. Because what you're saying is true. It's just that we have to get to a point to kind of nail down exactly what we need to focus on as a society. But yeah, I mean, for what you're saying is like basically true. So yeah, man, you always be mentioning some true stuff. Appreciate that. So we're gonna get.
Well, y'all have a lot of callers, so I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
Yeah, man, you too.
All right, thanks for calling in, Will.
All right, bye. Yeah, appreciate it.
So we're gonna get to 864 area code, and I recognize that 864, that must be a South Carolina number, right? Is it?
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Andy from South Carolina.
Yeah, see, I told you.
Like upstate.
Yeah. What's going on?
Hey, how are you guys doing? I love your show, by the way.
Okay, what's your name? I don't think I caught it.
My name is Andy.
Andy, all right.
What up?
Yeah. Okay, so I was recently in a back and forth with someone about marijuana legalization. I'm personally for it. I hope we can fully legalize it in all 50 states because it needs to be done. But one thing that we were talking about was I brought up the fact that having marijuana illegal is actually systematically racist in the fact that it targets minorities, and it's just unnecessary in this time of day. Like the fact that you can be arrested for smoking something or for having possession of something that's a plant. Like what is America doing to the fact to where we have to arrest someone for smoking a plant that is prohibited? Mother Nature is being prohibited.
Well, no, that's a good question. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the next caller. We're going to address your question right after we answer the next caller because we want to get the next caller. And
I just want to clarify. I do just want to clarify that. Basically, my question is, like, do you guys think that it's systematically racist? And, like, do you guys think that laws need to change, like, to where we can have it fully legalized for a racial reason?
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for calling in South Carolina. I don't think we had a South Carolina caller on this show yet.
Not a hometown caller.
Yeah, man. Appreciate that.
Absolutely, yeah. Your guys' shows. I hope you guys keep it up. And I'm going to stay subscribed to you guys, and I'll make sure to stay on top of y'all's notifications.
All right. Good to hear, man. All right. Have a good weekend.
You guys have a great night. Bye.
All right. So 360 area code. We got about a minute and a half for you. What's your name and where you calling from?
It's Virginia in Washington. It's V. How you been? I've missed you guys.
What's going on, V? Nice to hear you.
It's good to see you guys. I'm sorry I've been gone because I joined the dang Democrats over here, and they got meetings Tuesdays and Thursdays all the time. And I'm like, well, y'all got to blow my nice live chat. Lord have mercy. But finally today, I'm free, and I'm so glad to hear y'all and see y'all. And I don't know what Rosario is up to, but I guarantee you, ain't gonna be no Cory Booker in the South Bronx St. Mary's Park. That's a fact. I don't care what she does. She ain't gonna get him out there. At any rate, loves, I don't even know what I call to say except I miss y'all, and it's real good to hear you again. And you keep dealing with real issues. Every time I see those videos of these cop shootings, I swear to God, I'm waiting for a heart attack to take me down. It's so ugly. It hurts so bad that I don't even know. I don't even know how. And I won't make myself look away, but I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I feel something go on in my chest that I go, Lord have mercy. Anyway, but I am trying like hell to get. I have gone into the Democrats to see what in hell they do. Okay. All they do is worry about money. I hate to say it, but that's a fact. I have been to all these dang meetings, and honey, if you think we're talking policy, you are delusional. It is all about business. We got to raise this money, have this fundraiser, yada, yada. We ain't even talking about, we're just going to automate.
All right. So we lost V. V, a loyal viewer, loyal supporter. Sorry we didn't have more time for you, V. It was nice hearing your voice. Just joined the Democratic Party, and I would like to hear more about that.
Yeah, because like she trying to get a little inside glimpse of what's going on.
I definitely would like to hear more about that. So we definitely hope that you have some more time to call back, maybe next week, Tuesday or Thursday.
Give us some reports and updates.
Yeah, because we do know that a lot of what these parties do is worry about fundraising. Because
that's like 80% of the time that they spend.
Need the money. And this system need the money.
Yeah. So let's address
Andy's from South Carolina
about whether the war on drugs is
racist.
based on racist. Well, according to former disgraced President Richard Nixon, well, his aide admitted that the war on drugs targeted black people. So first off, you got it coming straight from the horse's mouth. Second off, if you look at the history of how America used weed or used marijuana as a fear tactic, how they used it, it was definitely driven by racism. If you look at Reefer Madness, that whole Reefer Madness thing surrounded, telling white people that smoking weed would, make you more susceptible to that evil jazz and swing music that these black people, make. It would make white women more susceptible to be seduced by a black penis. So everything involving, marijuana and the propaganda behind it has kind of racist racist background.
I totally agree. The history is there to support the conclusion that these drug laws are racist. Marijuana is a plant, okay? It's a plant. And we know that no matter what you look like, if you have a darker skin complexion, if you have a lighter skin complexion, somehow the rates of marijuana use tend to be the same across racial lines. So it doesn't matter if you're black, doesn't matter if you're white, doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, it just doesn't matter, because humans are humans and tend to engage in human activity. The reason why it's clearly racist is because we don't only know that. Many people know that. Many governmental officials know that. Many people that are in law enforcement know that as well. Many DAs know that. Many judges know that. Everybody knows that. But what is done about it? Absolutely nothing. We have more black people that are arrested because of marijuana possession. Is that an accident? That can't be an accident when you, when you notice the fact that people will be people and people will use marijuana. So if we know that there's a disproportionate arrest records of white people and black people, then it seems to me the easiest conclusion to draw is that this country is trying to do something here.
Yeah, and
it's trying to do something.
Yeah, and I think we were just kind of, if you look at like how it's now kind of spread across the board. Now, enforcement is not spread across the board, but it's not just black people and Hispanic people that are being affected by these drug laws now. There's a lot of white people get caught up in it too, and the reason why there's white people getting caught up in it now is because it went for so long without being checked when it was black people being targeted.
Yeah.
So it's like black people or minorities are almost like the test subjects for, programs. And once they run those tests and once they see the results of it, now everybody can get affected by it.
It's not just marijuana. What are we seeing with heroin nowadays? That it's a crisis, right? Heroin addiction is a crisis. That's because a lot of white people are falling victim to it. A lot of white people they're addicted to the drug now, and it's leading to a lot of deaths, leading to a lot of bad outcomes. But it's a problem, It's an addiction. We got to treat it like an addiction. We didn't hear that same narrative 10 years ago, 20 years ago, as it relates to any other type of drug, including marijuana. No, this is criminal behavior. No, we need to be we need to rule with an iron fist. We need to institute mandatory minimums. These are criminals. No, second chances. No. Get the key, throw it away, lock them up. That's it. Like I said, the question that you asked, Andy, is a legitimate question. But I think by now, most people already understand that the law isn't there just to, I guess, protect people. It's not there to protect people. If you actually wanted to protect people, you would actually treat any type of drug use for what it is. You would treat it as an addiction. If you removed all the drug laws, like all the prohibition on drug laws, would it still be illegal to drive while you are drunk or drive while you are under the possession, under the influence? Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking. But yeah, if you're driving under the influence of cocaine or heroin or meth or marijuana, yeah, it definitely should still be illegal. No doubt. If you are giving it to somebody that's not of age, if you're giving it to somebody that's not 18, yeah, it should be illegal. Yeah, there should be a punishment for that. What? Yeah, no doubt. But I think, like we've seen in other countries, and I believe it's Portugal. I believe it's Portugal that legalized all drugs. I could be wrong about that, but I believe it's Portugal.
It could be. We talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it before. But after they did that, there was a rise, and that was to be expected. There was a rise in drug use. After that, drug use came down significantly. I know that a lot of people use drugs because of peer pressure, because it's provocative. People want to be somewhat of a badass. Some people want to, go against the grain and like, hey, I can do whatever I want to. I can do this, I can do that. Like, that's a significant aspect of it. If you remove all of that, you remove if you remove the criminal aspect of it, you remove the people that are on the street engaged in dangerous behavior, dangerous lifestyles, selling this product, you know, and then crime comes along with that. Let's say they don't get their money. What they're gonna do? They're gonna go to law enforcement? Of course not. They're gonna seek street justice. Remove all of that. Remove all of that from our society. What's going to happen? I think we're going to be led to a better outcome. I think we're going to actually treat addiction the way that we are treating it now with heroin. But with marijuana, I'm not aware of any single marijuana-related death, like somebody overdosing on it. It's not a gateway drug, even though people continuously state that it's not a gateway drug. What it does lead to is it leads to the munchies. It leads to you feeling a little bit sleepy. Leads to you feeling a little bit lethargic. But does it lead to any like significant health impairments?
But like you said though, like, you know, it's not like driving under the influence of any of those substances goes away.
No, it doesn't.
Because it's legal, and that would include marijuana.
Of course. And I believe I just saw, you know what? I just saw maybe a week or two ago that somebody has developed the first, I guess, like marijuana test that you can actually administer right there on the scene, and it will come out with a reading for, like, I guess if you're over whatever said limit that they think should be there.
See, then I think that's where, like, me personally, that's kind of going to be something that's going to have to be monitored very closely.
Oh, no doubt.
As far as,
no
like,
doubt,
you know, determining what level, because I think, like, that's just different than alcohol.
It is.
Because everybody has a different tolerance
It
level.
is.
I mean, everybody has a different tolerance level with alcohol, too, but I just think that it's like...
But there could be field tests, too.
Yeah.
There could be field
tests. There would
tests.
definitely be field tests.
Yes, there could be. Again, that's not going to go away. There will still be the criminal aspect of if you are under the influence, you could definitely be taken to jail.
Operating a vehicle.
Because that'd be unsafe.
Yeah, it'd be unsafe.
Nobody's in favor of putting others in jeopardy just because you want to get high. Nobody's in favor of that whatsoever. But what we are in favor of is limiting the numbers of people that are in jail for marijuana possession, even marijuana sales, drug sales. Like, get these people out of jail. These people that are in jail for non-violent drug arrests, like, stop it. Stop it. But we know that it's not just like it's, we didn't reach this situation because leaders within our society are like, well, hey, we're trying to be genuine here. We're trying to do the right thing for people. We didn't get here because people are actually responding to the drug issue like that. No, they want people in jail. The private prison industry, it's a real industry. It's a for-profit industry. It wasn't an accident that it was set up. Like, people are making money on the backs of imprisoning people.
I don't know, man. I think it's one of those situations where our economic system and capitalism itself is built on profiting off of our faults. That's why we have, you know what I'm saying? I think we live in a system that profits off of our faults, regardless of whether those faults actually cause societal harm, and that's one of them. So when people ask, like, why do people do drugs in the first place? Like somebody asked in the comment section. But see, all drugs aren't created equal, you see what I'm saying?
No, they're not.
Like, all drugs aren't created equal. Like, if you look at, like, most the organic forms of drugs, like a coca leaf or something like that, where cocaine is, where cocaine is developed from or manufactured from. Coca leaf doesn't have the same effects as, like, the actual drug itself, because it's such a highly concentrated form. Within the plant, you have other elements in the plant that balance out like the effects of it. But when you concentrate the most, like when you concentrate like one part of the plant into a substance, that's all you get. So there's no balance there. So most drugs, what you would call, and in the organic form, they don't cause the same amount of problems.
Yeah.
So
I remember seeing a Seinfeld episode about the Elaine kept failing the drug test because she was eating poppy seeds.
Eating poppy seeds. Yeah. Sometimes if you eat too many poppy seeds, you come up with false positive test.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know, man.
Look, man, if you libertarians, most of them will agree on this. Hey, let people do what they want to do. That's mainly the position of libertarians. Hey, if people want to smoke, if people want to do drugs, that's a personal decision. Just let them do what they want to do. If they want to ruin their life, that's on them. And now there should be some as a society, there should be some kind of avenue where they could seek help, or that people around them can point them in the direction of help. No doubt, but why would you criminalize their behavior when they are punishing their own self? Why would you criminalize that behavior? It makes no damn sense. And again, because we don't have a system that's set up to actually just do what's best. That's not where it originated from. We have a system that wants to punish actions that should not be criminalized, but it's for profit. Not only for profit, it's to, you could say it's to decrease the electorate, punish the black community, punish the brown community.
I think you
take fathers out the home.
That's probably true, because a lot of these people end up with felonies and stuff like that. So.
Recidivism rates, man, crazy. We're not doing any rehabilitating. People are going right back into the same situations that they came from, because when they went in, they were they were like in poverty, right? And then when they came out, they were still in poverty. So what changed?
They're still in poverty, and there's not really stable programs that they can get into. There's some out there now. There's definitely some out there, but
enough?
No. One thing I wanted to mention, I just kind of popped in my head, because Rashid, our first caller, was talking about, black wealth and whatnot, how it's basically not there. And actually, like, to get in the upper 10% of wealth, to get in that upper 10%, as far as black people, if you're black, to get in the upper 10%, maybe even upper 7% of black wealth, you know how much money you have to have, or net worth, and that's accounting for all your assets? $350,000. That's it. To be in top, I think it's 10%. Could be wrong, but I think it's 10%. To be in the upper 10%, as far as the black elite, that's all you need. $350,000. That's how much you have to be worth.
10%.
Upper 10%. Yeah.
350,000.
Not much, man.
Andrew Yang, in his interview with the Breakfast Club, he was talking about that, and I believe he said that there was a study that was just conducted. Don't quote me on this. I'm not going to quote him, but definitely go back and listen to it. But when he was talking about black wealth, I believe he said that the study stated that in the next 10 years or so, black wealth is the average black wealth is supposed to be zero.
Because what are we saying when we're saying wealth? Most of that involves adding up what you actually own, and not actually liquid cash. You see what I'm saying? That's usually talking about your house and your car, and not actually liquid cash.
Yeah.
Because most people don't really have anything. Even that's why I don't when people talk about the gap between it's actually not 1%. It's the 1% of 1%.
It's a tenth of.
It's a tenth. Yeah.
A few, maybe a 2/10. I don't know what it is, but it's not 1%.
People say the wealth gap is it's. I don't even know if you want to call it a gap, because poor people don't really have anything. The poor people don't have anything really. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's they wouldn't have any capital. So
it's not. You can't even count.
You can't even count it, because
it's just people who have wealth and people who don't.
People who have wealth, people who don't. Because what kind of liquid cash do most people have? Even middle class people. How much liquid cash do they actually have?
Not
they
much.
may be paying for a house. They may be paying for a car. But how much liquid cash do they have? How much capital do they have?
If you're actually counting wealth.
You actually count.
Disposable.
I'm not talking about possessions that are worth a certain amount. I'm talking about liquid cash.
Because in most circumstances, you don't really own that.
No.
You're paying on that, but you don't actually own that stuff. No. Andrew Yang, again, when he was talking on the Breakfast Club, he talked about you know, reparations and stuff. And I believe he was saying that there's nothing you can actually do to redress what happened. And that's absolutely true. Like, we've said that before. Now, there's measures that you can take to where you can create better outcomes. But I believe it was like, I think that was Rashid that said that how you get how wealth is built is through land. And back in the day, years and years, you know, over 100 years ago, after slavery, there was this period of time where there was a lot of white people that were getting land from the government. Now, black people weren't afforded that same right. And so black people weren't able to grow wealth in the same way that white people were. So it's like there's only so much land. There's only so much private land. So to actually turn things around, that would be very, very difficult. I don't think you could get to a place where you could actually turn that around.
Because that's not something that'll happen naturally.
No.
That's not something that can happen naturally.
There are measures that you can take to make things better. And what we really want, man, and like we want to address poverty. If you're talking about black people in general, man, I would love to see these ghettos and these hoods gone. Now, you know what? And I shouldn't say the word gone. I want them improved. I don't want them to be ghettos and hoods. I want there to be business opportunities. I want these schools to be actually funded to a respectable level. No leaks in the ceilings, no outdated books, no teachers that are barely earning like $30,000. No, we're talking about educating our youth. For one, like, I have children. I want to make sure that my kids' teachers don't have to worry about a second job. Because they're doing the work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do work here at home, but they're spending time with my kid throughout the day teaching them. They're investing that time in our kids. We should be paying them appropriately so that that's their main focus. They shouldn't have, no, I don't want them worried about money. No, sorry, no. That's a burden. If we actually want to propel our kids, you know, to actually be something, nah, man, we got to invest in these teachers. We got to invest in these schools. There's a lot of stuff to do, man.
Hi, Carber. I don't know if that's your name. You've been in the chat for the whole show. Carber says, free market doesn't require a license to sell stuff. So decriminalization is all that's needed. Now, would you apply that to any other commodity? Think about that. Would you apply that to any other commodity? Not having a license for anything. Not having a license to manufacture vehicles. Not having a license to manufacture weapons. Not having a license to, I don't know, build. Not having a, whatever. Does that work? Does that really work in society? Maybe the probably a middle ground would be making getting a license easier and not having no licenses at all. That's not really a free market, really. What you're talking about, that's not really a free market. Like, how free do you feel if you don't know that what you're buying is safe? It doesn't feel real free, does it? So I think when people talk about the free market, they're acting like markets don't need to be controlled and don't need to have any regulations. That's some anarchist shit.
V said in the chat, a black professor came to our university as a job candidate. He made it real clear, equal funding for all schools, regardless of community's wealth, to end racism. They didn't hire him. I'm not surprised. You know, I did want to, you know, we were talking about love earlier. I definitely want to address a certain comment in the chat section coming from L Train.
Of course. Of course it's L Train. Of course you want to address L Train.
Yeah, of course I want to address L Train. L Train, always funny, right? He's always funny. L Train, always funny. Let me see if I can find this, man. Hold on, I think it was about right here, too. Hold on, let me see.
You can hold on to this, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you've been holding on to this, man.
It was right in the back of my head, man. Damn. Nah, see, it must have been earlier than that.
Was it highlighted?
I could have sworn it was like right. Oh, I'm gonna find it.
Better go retract that comment. Better go and retract it, L Train. Retract that comment, bro.
There's been a lot of comments in the chat. All right, here we go. See my man over here, right? Will, you understand love. You love the Jets. They're trash and break your heart every year, but you love them. Sometimes you can't explain it. Funny. I will say, that is that type of illogical type of love, yeah, because, the Jets have had very bad, and it's not even luck. They've had just poor decisions for many years. But we'll try to, they're trying to do some things. They got Le'Veon Bell. At least they didn't just completely give them the whole entire organization. I mean, the whole organization. Like, they gave them all the cap room. At least it was like it wasn't even Todd Gurley even got more than him. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't even the richest deal ever for a running back. So, all right, whatever, I will say, though, I used to love the Knicks. Man. I was Knicks through thick and thin, man. That was the Knicks, man. And then enough was enough. And it crossed the line into insanity. For me, it crossed the line into insanity. Like I said, like, love can sometimes cross the line to insanity where it's not love no more. You just insane at that point. So for me, it crossed over that line, and I had to leave them.
They don't look like the city of New York is going to be getting a championship in anything for a while.
Hey, Brooklyn is coming, man. All right? Brooklyn coming now. All right? I'm just saying.
I say it's anytime soon.
Oh, no. That ain't anytime soon. We'll see how the offseason go. If they actually get a free agent that can propel them even further, because they're doing a lot with not much. So
Harbor, whatever, High Harbor, High Carber, High Garber, Gerber, High Carber. Craigslist High Carber. Craigslist is not technically a free market. If you are found out doing illegal activity on Craigslist, you can be arrested for it. It's not there's no such thing as a free market. Nothing is completely free. Not the type of free you're talking about. I don't think you want to live in a society where there's no oversight on anything. That's not freedom at all. Like if you went out into the road and got in your car and there was no regulation on the road as far as traffic control devices, how free do you actually feel on the road? You don't feel free at all. You don't feel free.
Kelsey Williams said, I feel like there's another component of the drug legalization that's not often discussed. There are medical benefits to a lot of illegal substances. Big Pharma wants them banned from study. Of course, because if, like, we know that marijuana can help a lot when it comes to pain. And it's already being used. CBD oil, of course, is being used. Medicinal marijuana is not legal everywhere. And I think Big Pharma has a lot to do with that. If that was actually if marijuana was actually legalized, that would cut significantly into the profits of Big Pharma. They want to prescribe opioids. Opioids are legal. They just put them in the hands of doctors. Hey, this doctor, this professional, I think the best course of treatment for you, opioid. Take this. Yeah, it will relieve pain, no doubt. It will do that, but it'll actually get you addicted to it as well. And you can't just keep renewing that prescription. So where are you going to turn to when you're addicted? It's a horrible system.
In most cases, these companies have been found guilty of marketing their product in a deceptive way.
Right. Yep. And we know that there are doctors that are overprescribing. We know that. Do they get charged? No. Does the pharmaceutical company get charged? No. This is all legal, though. This is all legal. But marijuana is in the same. It's in the same space as cocaine.
Yeah, it's in the same class, isn't it?
Yeah, same class as cocaine.
Or same schedule, whatever.
Yeah, same schedule. Schedule 1, I believe, right? Schedule 1. First schedule, yeah. No benefit medicinally. That's what marijuana is. No medical benefits. Even though it's used for medical...
to benefit people medically.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I think I remember having not an argument, because Obama used to say a lot of things. Former President Obama used to say a lot of things. And I remember one time he was in Jamaica, I believe. And it was a video that was going around. I believe Now This maybe had publicized it again. This may be about a year ago or so. And somebody in the audience asked him about marijuana laws and, you know, just giving his feeling on it. It was a very eloquent question. I mean, it was very eloquent. And President Obama went on for about 3 to 4 minutes. And he's an eloquent speaker as well. Very articulate. I listened to him. I listened to him again. He didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. We should do this. And, you know, we really got to take a look at that. And that brings about a question like this. And are we doing the right thing here? And didn't say anything. He didn't say a damn thing whatsoever. The whole reason why marijuana is a Schedule 1 drug and is a Schedule 1 drug is because there has been no president that has declassified it. There's been no administration that has declassified it. It doesn't take an act of Congress.
It doesn't take an act of Congress because you can just get your own Department of Justice to do that.
The DEA.
You can sign an executive order.
Yes. It'd be on your administration. The whole reason why you have members of Congress within the House of Representatives and the Senate that has proposed bills to declassify it or to legalize it is because a president has never done it, and that includes President Obama. Like there are a lot of people that are ignorant to this issue right here. They believe it does have to be an act of Congress. Now to legalize it, now that would take an act of Congress. But to declassify it, to decriminalize it,
declassifying marijuana, and kind of stopping like how we enforce drug laws and just do away with that. So stopping something is easier than creating an entire program, right?
Yeah.
So it's I wouldn't say it's easy, but you don't have to you're just dismantling something.
Yes. Like there will still be state laws. You'll still have to deal with that reality. There could still be state laws. Like it could still be against state law to possess marijuana. All right. On the federal level, though, it will be decriminalized. The DOJ will not go after you at all.
Like again, like I said, like how hard is it to stop doing something? You know what I'm saying? How hard is it to stop doing it? Like it literally takes no effort to stop enforcing these drug laws.
Stroke of a pen. A call to the DEA.
It takes no effort to say, hey, we're not enforcing drug laws anymore. Just write up a law and just pass it.
It's as simple as that. Now, I mean, well, that would be more complex if you're talking about a law. That'd be through Congress. But declassifying it?
Oh no.
Oh no, that's simple.
No. What I mean by like I'm not saying it'll be easy. I'm just saying it is easy.
Oh, just the simple act of
the act of it. The process is easy. I'm not saying like the likelihood of it is high based on who we have as representatives right now.
It's hard. It's very, very difficult because it shouldn't be. It is because we have demagogues.
Yeah.
We have demagogues that are selling the idea that marijuana is very risky, it's dangerous, it has horrible health effects, and it's a gateway drug. None of that is true. None of that is true. People have been smoking marijuana for decades. None of that is true.
Random shit. This is totally off subject.
All right.
I noticed a lot of these QAnon people.
Whoa, that is off topic.
A lot of these mugs, right, who've been talking about sex trafficking, how Trump is going to take down all these pedophiles and sex trafficking across the globe, have been mighty silent about this Yang chick. and her little sex spas, man.
The operation she's running.
The operation she's running down in Florida, close to Mar-a-Lago, and having access to Mar-a-Lago, and some mugs high up in the business world having access to them. And turns out that a lot of the Trump trademarks and a lot of the Trump businesses that were approved in China, where she is from, guess what kind of businesses those are?
Hair salons?
No.
Bike shops? No. Massage parlors?
You're getting there. That's what they call them. But the interesting thing think about it. This Yang chick, she wasn't really involved in politics. She wasn't really involved in politics before the Trump administration. All of a sudden, she joins this party in China. All of a sudden,
and she's now real chummy with a lot of political figures.
But think about this though. I don't think it's just about making money and getting access. I think it's about compromise. That's what I think it's about. So you start these massage parlors, right? You start these little sex spas, and you get these rich businessmen in there. You instantly got something on them. You instantly got something on them, right there. You can manipulate them. Now,
I think initially I saw something about the whole human trafficking angle. Initially, because when this first broke, it was about Robert Kraft, who was the owner of the New England Patriots. So I think initially I saw something about human trafficking, sex trafficking, and stuff like that. But the minute that it was connected to Donald Trump, I didn't see anything else.
Nope, they mighty silent on that.
That narrative was dead.
And I don't see how you can actually maintain that narrative with that conspiratorial narrative, seeing that he's also connected to Epstein.
Yeah.
I don't see how you can constantly keep that narrative going when there's so much that's working against it. But anyway, that was the opposite subject.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to end this. We definitely want to give a shout out to the people who have contributed to this program through the super chat. That's Calvin Darden and Howdy Duty. I guess it's, trying to be Howdy
Doody, but it's done in a very interesting way.
Very interesting way. Keep up the great work. Hashtag ADOS for Bernie. So appreciate that. Appreciate the support. Thank you for our callers. Had a lot of callers tonight. Rashid, Tony, Shahid, Court, Will, Andy, and V.
We had a starting five with some bench players.
I'm saying, man. So what was that, 7?
Yes.
We had 7 callers. Okay. I like that. Please keep it coming. Every single show, we would love to have you on. Okay. So at the end of our commentary, please just be there. And if you have something to say, please call in. Andy, we hope that we answered. Well, we went in depth. We went a little bit too long on the marijuana, but hope that answered your question. South Carolina in the house, man. That's what's up, man. Upstate.
That's the first time.
Upstate,
I think that's the first time.
We don't get. I don't really see any South Carolina people watching us or anything like that. I haven't really noticed it.
Maybe there was one. Wasn't there one from Charleston a long time ago?
Yes, there was.
There was one from Charleston.
Yeah,
that was
that's
like
right.
Last year.
Yeah. No, shoot, that was like 2016, 17.
Were we doing calls then?
Nah. Well, maybe I'm talking about somebody different. Somebody actually called in from Charleston?
I forgot. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Hasn't been much. I know that much. No. We don't live in a,
populated state.
Nah.
Like 3.2?
Something like
5
that.
million?
Yeah. Large city areas? Nah, not really.
Yeah, it's spread out.
It's
pretty spread out.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, like I think in the 2 counties that I guess Columbia draws off of is like 400,000. Like in this little Midlands area, it's like.
Is it that much?
If you're just talking about Lexington and Richland County, it's like 350,000.
Okay.
If you like kind of go.
I think Richland is maybe like 150, 160,
yeah,
something like
that.
that.
Then you got Lexington, and then you got is it Saluda? You got Saluda County. But yeah, I mean
that's Sumter. But that's kind of.
That's yeah. But then you got like Greenville and Spartanburg. Those are the other populated counties.
Charleston.
You got Charleston, Beaufort area, and Beaufort that's a little lower. And you got Myrtle Beach in that area, and you got Florence. So it's like kind of like
It's a
spread out.
lot of rural areas.
It's a lot, yeah. And
I used to drive across the state. I didn't even know some of the cities that we had here. Some of the names that I came across, I was like, oh, what is this? And you know what was so funny to me, too? Well, it wasn't funny. Not at the time, because I was scared as hell.
Because you had to do it for your job.
Yeah, I had to do it for my job. And I would drive around, but I have to actually visit homes. I have to visit these people. And I'm in real rural areas where my phone is cutting out. I'm seeing nothing but trees. And I have to go into this home, and I'm like, damn, I know these white people. And, like, I don't know what these white people are like. You know what I'm saying? And in a lot of cases, they were black people. I'm like, damn.
You know what? See, I think, like, there's been this perception of rural America that it's just white people, and it's not.
Exactly.
The only reason I know that personally is because my family is from, well, my mom's side is from rural South Carolina, and there's nothing but black people out there.
True that. Yeah, I got some people down in the same area.
Yeah, and I didn't know
there's
that.
nothing.
Like,
but
I guess
black
like if
people.
you just like watching TV, I just grew up thinking that like rural
that meant
folks.
white. Yeah, exactly.
But nah, it's not.
But I even came across some white people that had Confederate flags propped up right outside, and you know you're a little bit apprehensive of going in a house like that, and every single time I go in there, these people are as nice as can be, as nice as can be,
because there's a way that they compartmentalize their kind of how they come off as far as superficially and like their cordialness and their manners. They compartmentalize that from like the main part of their belief system and their attitude. There's people do that.
But you know, I think a lot of it too is that I think a lot of them are not informed about what they're actually representing.
That too.
Yeah.
That too. They're just they're just holding on to it because of like
tradition. And they really believe that means something, that this is tradition. Anyway, South Carolina is a very interesting place, man. Very interesting place. But anyway, thank you for everybody in the chat section as well for mixing it up. And, you know, we always love to read off some comments and respond to some questions. So next broadcast will be on Tuesday, which will be, what, the 19th? Yeah, 5 days. That'll be the 19th of March. I don't know what's going on this weekend. Just like every other weekend.
Bernie was here.
He was in North Charleston, I believe I heard. Yeah. So that was lower state. Yeah, North Charleston. Yeah, I don't know what else is going on. Do you? Anything for the weekend?
I never know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm always
The only thing I know is that the conference tournaments for men's college basketball is going on.
Oh yeah,
this weekend.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
And then the big tournament starts I think next week.
Then it go to midnight or even later.
Oh yeah, it goes later. Yeah, that's March Madness.
March Madness. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I don't know anything that's going on. So, but we appreciate every single one of you, everybody that's watching us on YouTube and Twitter and Twitch. We hope that you have a good weekend. Do something that makes you smile. We don't have a tagline to go out.
Maybe you can.
No, you say nothing.
I'm just saying. You know, since we talking about love, maybe that could be, a theme for people's weekend. Go find love, like Cory Booker and Rosario Dawson.
Go find some love like that. This dude is disgusted by it. I don't know, man. Again, there's gotta be. I'm telling you, man. Book must be, man.
He
strong.
He must have unbuttoned the shirt. He must have unbuttoned that shirt, dog, and to show off some of that chest hair.
Maybe it was like
he put on some Jeffrey Osborne or some like Luther Vandross. Got some wine and stuff like that.
Maybe some Key Washington.
Oh, true that, yo. Shoot, that panty dropper music.
Are you still in love?
Or some Silk, or some Jodeci.
Some Silk might do it.
Silk might do it. Jodeci. So yeah, there had to be some game involved.
Is that a meeting in my bedroom? Is that
There's a
Silk?
meeting in my bedroom.
Yeah. Maybe it was a damsel in distress type of situation.
Oh, like when she fell down the storm drain
Yeah,
or some shit?
yeah.
Help me, Corey. So it's like one of those a romance that was birthed out of a traumatic experience.
It could be.
Kind of like the movie Speed.
Yeah, it could be something like that.
Kind of like Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock.
Could be, man. And then because of that connection that they share, it bred the love. And then when she got saved, you remember how Martin he used to do the face like,
oh yeah, true that. Oh yeah, like yeah. What you got for me?
Maybe it was something like that, man. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we can just people gonna be speculating. People gonna be throwing it out there. I have no idea what it is. Kelsey, thanks for the shout out. Yeah, no problem, Kelsey. We appreciate you being in the chat section. V, like I said, do some work and some more investigative work. We want to hear that. We're looking forward to your reports. But yeah, man, that's all we got, man. That's all we got.
Yeah, just hoping to see y'all back on Tuesday.
No doubt. Patreon. Our patrons on patreon.com. Thank you for supporting us each and every month. No words can really describe how appreciative we are for your continued support. Rashid, yeah, our first caller, made some good points about just us, upgrading this platform, upgrading the equipment and stuff like that. Crowdfunding is not something that we really thought about. Not really thought about that. I have seen other YouTubers engage in that, and I've seen other ones they've accumulated thousands of dollars, multiple thousands of dollars, multiple thousands of dollars.
That's redundant. Multiple thousands.
I was surprised how many thousands of dollars that they accumulated, just because they, like I said, they
crowdfund.
I'm like, my goodness, man.
Might be something to look into, man. I mean, you might be right, man. Might be on to something.
We would love some more space. That would be absolutely fantastic. We would love some more space. And we would love to add at least one more individual to this program so they can do a lot of the background work. But they, of course, would have to be on hand. Couldn't be like a
remote situation.
Nah, it couldn't be that. So, maybe we'll look into that. We'll see. But anyway, everybody have a good night. Take care. This is Let the Madness Begin. We'll be back after the weekend on Tuesday. Until then, man, peace out.
We'll be right back.